Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends as we near the end of this wonderful month of August. It is Wednesday all day, the 26th of August, and we say pleasant good morning to Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
Good to see you this morning. Dave Poehls will be in eventually, I think, and Tyrus Kileon all the way from Princeville. But in the meantime, we hold the fort down. And, of course, the big news is the passing of Dolly Parton. You know, initially, and I know you watched probably and heard some of the early details, they did not indicate a cause of death. It mentioned that she'd been hospitalized for kidney stones and a little lowering of her immune system or whatever. But the family finally came out and said that she had a brief bout with cancer, but did not stipulate what kind of a cancer, what was led to the very brief battle with it, and suddenly this great music icon is gone from us. She did appear in Peoria twice, in 1977 at the Field House. A lot of people don't know, particularly younger people. Good morning, Dave.
Younger people?
Yes, younger people. Speaking of younger people, don't realize that was one of our major entertainment venue. Bob Hope appeared at the Field House. Fred Waring and the Pennsylvanians, who, when they came to town, where did they usually go? There was no civic center. They went to the Shrine Temple. And have you, either one of you, ever seen a show in the Shrine Temple?
No, I can't. I'm trying to think. I saw a lot of plays there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I was in one. So
you were in a play at the Shrine?
A musical. I took my dance class in third grade. We performed at the Shrine.
Is that right? Yeah. Really?
For years, Caterpillar Mixed Chorus did all their
shows
there.
They did that. Exactly right. Yeah.
My dad was always in those.
Came in.
The Barbershoppers and Bells of Harmony, which was a female group. As a matter of fact, they got desperate one year. Their MC couldn't make it for whatever reason. And literally the day or the night of the show called and said, "We need a MC." Well, I had no time to prepare. I didn't know. Anyway, I was there, and the show must go on. I can't say it was one of my better nights, but it was a great entertainment venue. And as a matter of fact, one year, I think may have been just 1 year, the St. Jude Telethon, under the tutelage of Mayor Jim Maloof, broadcast from the stage of the Shrine Mosque. Wow. Now it's packed, and I mean packed, every Sunday with the Riverside? Is that what they call it?
Riverside Church, yeah.
It is unbelievable, and my church is across the street, the First Methodist Church, and only in their dreams they would like to see the kind of turnout you have at Riverside. I don't know what they do there, but they have even taken over with permission, I guess, and maybe paying a little bit, parking lot at Madison and Hamilton, in addition to on-street parking and parking in, they're all over the place. It's just, they have a lot at Fayette and Monroe that is packed. It is just amazing. I don't know, Billy Graham preaching there that we don't know of, or his son for that matter. But anyway, back to Dolly Parton, and then she appeared at the Civic Center with Kenny Rogers. And I don't know what the two of you think, but they seem to be perfectly paired, as almost like Sonny and Cher, except Sonny and Cher got a divorce. And I don't think Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. She just was an icon. Any thoughts the two of you want to share about the passing of this music legend?
I was just thinking, it's funny you said on the way here, I was thinking Islands in the Stream, speaking of... I always like that song.
That's one of my favorites.
Of course, Jolene is... and talk about what a class act. One of her big philanthropies was literacy.
The reading program.
And I always see as a matter of fact, just last week I saw something at one of the schools, the free books that she would allow, and just talk about a true icon of just not music, but also society and culture. So we definitely sorely miss.
Yep, she will be.
What was your favorite
My favorite of her songs is "I Will Always Love You."
Yeah. And wasn't that a big hit by Whitney Houston
It
too?
was from the movie The Bodyguard.
Yeah, Whitney Houston kind of took it over, but I remember her singing it. Well, first of all, in Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, when she started with Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
And that
I
was
forgot that. Yeah.
that's when she sang it, and then Whitney Houston came along and kind of took it over. And of course, Elvis wanted to record it.
I saw that.
Oh,
yeah.
Elvis did?
And
Really?
she
I did
refused
not
the
know
rights,
that.
But
Yeah.
that stupid Colonel Tom Parker had made a deal that any time he did a song, Elvis got credit for writing it and all that. And Dolly Parton flat out said, "No." She said, "I won't do that. It's my song, and no, he's not going to get credit." And so that's why she didn't give it up to Elvis.
I saw also, when Whitney Houston won the Grammy in '92 for that song, Dolly Parton presented the Grammy to her.
Oh,
I
I
thought that was
did
kind
not
of that
know
was kind of
that.
a neat, classy thing.
Yep, iconic touch.
And she
there.
across all kinds of genres. One of the she wrote a really kind note. Eminem, who Marshall Matt Gathers, whatever, kind of a rap star. She says, I don't know much about that music, but she just wrote a very, very nice note congratulating him and he posted, I guess, yesterday that just how classy it was. So she crossed genres. Let's put it that way.
Yep, she did.
What do you think? What made her so popular?
Kindness. It's that
Kindness?
simple. Yeah.
I would say her kindness and the fact that she could, via her songs, she conveyed a lot of things, like with the 9 to 5, of course.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Oh, I love that. That's a
And
good one. Yeah.
My goodness, it was an anthem for the working people, and then of course Coat in Many Colors. I mean that's a great story. She's a good storyteller in her songs.
And she also was very good at self-deprecation. People would make a lot of
Good
fun
point,
of her,
yeah.
and she would literally turn it on herself and them, and actually turn perhaps was a critic into a friend, because she was just very good. She never believed that she was any bigger. I saw something interesting. Her favorite car was a 1997 Cadillac. She could buy any car in the world, but she kept driving it for like a decade.
That, yeah.
So the point I'm making is that she just didn't believe that she was any bigger than anybody else.
She was a very charming person,
Yes.
and as someone said on one of the cable networks, unlike some of the other people in the entertainment business, you didn't know her politics, and
Right.
she stayed away from it. She didn't show favoritism, and one day she was an entertainer, and unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your political persuasion, that's what you want from an entertainer. You don't want to hear the politics, and I could cite a number of singers, entertainers, particularly those of long tooth, who feel like their views are more important than your views or my views or whatever the case may be. She was just a charming entertainer. And when she entertained, it looked like she didn't want to be anywhere but right there having fun, whether it's doing solo or singing with Kenny Rogers. The two of them just matched so perfectly. It was unbelievable. And she had a wonderful marriage, 60 years?
59 years they were actually married, but yep.
And Carl Dean, I believe, is his name.
right,
And as someone, a big fan of Dolly Parton, said that his death was emotionally devastating to her. And, you could make, to some degree or another, a connection between her grieving over the loss of her husband of so many years to perhaps the development of, as it turns out, apparently cancer, although they didn't define what kind of cancer
Well,
it
I
was.
read that she admitted that she was taking care of him. She let some of her
Her
things
health
slide.
was going
and
downhill,
my mom
yeah.
did the exact same thing. She
Yeah.
concentrated on taking care of Dad, and she buried things that was going on with her.
Yeah, good point.
And I saw it firsthand.
Well, we're kind of in the news, you might say, so without further ado, we will give you the stories that we're following and begin with a check of the weather, a service of Mr. Weather, Kyle Varno, the Fortner Insurance. Kyle, is an insurance professional who can review your portfolio of coverage for home, auto, life, and health to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. And you can learn more from Kyle. As we say, he's a professional, and you can reach him today at 682-0519. And weather-wise,
Weather-wise, it is.
Dave, I'll let you have the
Checking
honors.
the temperature right away. Well, we're looking at sunny, breezy, and warmer today, which describes everybody in the studio, correct? High of 85 degrees, and tonight's low of 64. Tomorrow looks to be sunny and 83, so keep this nice weather coming, right? Friday and Saturday is sunny with highs around 84, and Sunday looks like we start turning the temperature up a little bit to 88 degrees. And it's looking like another great weekend for the annual Irish Fest celebration on the riverfront.
Exciting time.
Absolutely. So currently we're looking at 70 degrees on our way to a wonderful Wednesday.
And now the news, sponsored by Robert Manning, Senior Vice President, Financial Advisor with Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, and SIPC. Bob, located in downtown Peoria at the One Technology Building. His telephone number 309-671-4653. Now with our lead story, here's Terry.
Dolly Parton, as we've been talking about, considered by many as the greatest female vocalist of all time, has died at the age of 80. The iconic singer passed away at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville after a brief battle with cancer. The type of cancer was not identified. Parton has struggled emotionally after the death of her husband, Carl Dean, last year.
Dolly Parton won 11 Grammy Awards, 10 Country Music Awards, and was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during her legendary career. She also was nominated twice for Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Award. She was honored with a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1984. She had 25 songs reach number 1 on Billboard and 42 career top 10 country albums, a record for any artist, and 110 career charted singles over the past 40 years. And the hits included Jolene.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you,
By a
Jolene.
cashier,
Bank teller.
the bank teller.
He talks about
And
you in
she
his
kind of
sleep, and there's
flirting
nothing
with her
I
husband,
can
Carl
do to
Dean.
keep from crying
Now,
when he
I guess
calls your
flirting
name
He flirted
Jolene.
back, but yeah, she was kind of flirting with him.
And I can easily understand how
upset
you
her a
could
little bit
easily take my
and
man,
started to
but you
write the
don't
song,
know
and
what he
I just
means to me.
heard her say
Jolene.
that it was, as she started writing, it was a compilation of a lot of women, so it just happened to fit the song with Jolene. But that's what inspired it, was the flirtiness of
Take
the...
my
Is
man.
that right? I had not heard that story. It had to be a story behind the song. It's such a great song. And I don't know, did it outsell all the other songs that we talked about, like 9 to 5 and Islands in the Sky or Stream or
But I could
whatever it is?
never love again. He's the
It was
only
considered, that
one
was the
for me,
breakthrough song.
Jolene.
1974, Jolene.
There you have it.
Well, President Trump has ordered American flags to be flown at half-staff nationwide for 1 week in her honor. And we'll be playing some more of her hits throughout this morning's program.
In other news, there was a big Republican primary race in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate between Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. President Trump endorsed Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham.
The judge in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial sent the jury home early yesterday after he denied the defense motion for a mistrial. The 36-year-old woman is accused of murdering her two young daughters and a son, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, all 3 of her children. Mental health experts testified for and against Clancy and her state of mind when she strangled each child in the basement of her Duxbury, Massachusetts home. A psychologist told the court the mother was criminally responsible for the murders. We'll talk about this case with Prairie Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning.
The Iranian government is showing its hatred for the United States with news they're targeting assassination efforts towards President Trump's 20-year-old son, Barron. He's currently attending New York University. The U.S. Secret Service said it was aware of a video on Iranian state television announcing a $10 million reward to anyone providing Barron's location.
Wow.
They're just bad people. I mean, let's face it, we don't need them. Particularly in Iran.
Ohio Democrat Representative Joyce Beatty has filed an emergency motion to halt President Trump's planned 2-year renovation of the famed Kennedy Center. The entertainment venue is in need of complete modernization and updating due to aging deterioration. The Democrat is angry the center has approved the renaming of the facility after Trump. A federal judge has agreed. However, an attorney with the Justice Department warned the federal court if the renovation plans are blocked, steps will be taken to demolish the aging structure and replace with an amphitheater.
Turning to local news, the Peoria School District is without a financial officer, but new Superintendent Dr. Jerry Bell says the district is on schedule and preparing a budget for the current school year. So far, no explanation from anyone about the sudden resignation of Michael Curry as Chief Financial Officer after about 1 week on the job. Curry was hired from the Decatur School District. Reportedly, he took a job elsewhere.
Tazewell County State's Attorney Kevin Johnson says his office is filing charges against 45-year-old Jason Rockhold of Washington. The former softball coach allegedly had sex with a minor multiple times in East Peoria between June 2022 and June 2025. He was previously charged with the same offense with the same victim in Woodford County. He remains behind bars.
Peoria City Council has quickly denied requests by 2 Knoxville Avenue gas stations to sell alcohol. The BP stations in the 2300 and 4500 blocks had requested liquor licenses. Apparently, the council said you can pump gas, but unable to get gassed. Who writes this stuff? We got the best speechwriters in the business here. Very, very well done. Neighbors were glad with the vote, which came without discussion, thanks to its inclusion on the consent agenda. And those are our headlines. Oh, wait, is there more?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. All right, those are our headlines for this half hour.
You got it. And now let's turn to news from our news partners, WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ryan Down. A global renewable energy firm is looking to build a 113-turbine wind farm in northwest Peoria County. Repsol Renewables of Spain has submitted an application for the Four Creeks wind development, covering 27,000 acres from Princeville and Brimfield to the county lines. Peoria County Director of Planning and Zoning, Andrew Braun, says this first step is requesting permission to proceed with the project.
The building permit stage would follow in the next 5 or so years, and it would require a whole laundry list full of additional regulations.
The first of several days of public input is scheduled for September 14th at the Holiday Inn in Grand Prairie. The 54 flock license plate reading cameras in Pekin will remain there for another year. The City Council voted 6-1 in renewing its annual contract with Flock for a 4th year. A state grant covering the approximately $160,000 cost of the cameras expires next year. Councilmember Peg Phillips says she doesn't want to face telling a parent that the city no longer had one means of finding a missing child.
I would hate to be standing in front of that person and say, I chose to do away with the tool that could be helping me right now. We know in real life that this has helped people in Pekin.
Rick Hilst cast a lone no vote. 11 flock opponents from Pekin and nearby communities spoke during public comment. Peoria Mayor Rita Ali says the city has been approached in the past about potential data centers, but she doesn't expect anything to come of it. Ali says the main reason for minimal interest in a Peoria data center is a lack of sufficient electrical grid capacity.
It's a very politically charged issue, but it doesn't look like we'll be entertaining data centers in Peoria anytime soon.
Ali says the city's input regarding data centers has come primarily through the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. A new state law will help patients get medications they need to manage pain after surgical procedures. Previously, drugs like morphine or codeine could not be transferred to a new pharmacy without an entirely new prescription. At the federal level, these drugs were able to be transferred, but Illinois law imposed tighter restrictions that have now been loosened. You can find more news at WCBU.org. I'm Ryan Denham.
Thank you very much. Tyrus still enjoying the sad news because when I turned the TV off last night, the Cubs were ahead and the pitching looked good. And now you're going to tell me they blew it again.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they'll make the
5-4.
playoffs, but they'll get eliminated in the initial playoffs because they don't have a bullpen. They recruited Judd Hoyer. Is he the general manager?
Yeah.
And he's recruited a lot of rubber arms, cast off from other teams, and they just aren't cutting the mustard.
That's right. They're cutting the cheese.
Yeah.
Serving up cheese, too. No. Anyways, thank you, Roger.
Years ago when I was growing up, cutting the cheese had a different meaning, but we won't get into that, okay?
Oh, yeah, no. I know.
Okay.
I know your meaning. Peoria Sports News, Peoria Chiefs at 56-63 played today against the West Michigan Whitecaps at 6:35 p.m. That's in the affiliate with the Detroit Tigers. They play at 6:35 p.m. today. Like I said, it's the away series, probably their last away series here. And they got 5 games of those.
Yeah, and isn't the season about ready to end for the Chiefs?
Then they got one more home game, which
is September 6th.
Yep.
And that's the end of the season.
The first through the first.
Well, get out and
6th.
support the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
They've had a tough season this year.
Yep.
But the food is still good.
Very good.
They finished it off with the last 6 home games.
Oh, they have 6 at home. Okay.
So 5 more road games left here, and then 6 more home games. MLB news: the Cubs are in second place, 5.5 out of first, 76-57 loss to the Diamondbacks, 4-5. They play the rubber match today at.
I thought you were going to say they play the Rivermen.
No. Well, usually when the 3-game series is tied up, it's the rubber match later.
Yeah.
For the 3rd game.
Yeah, they had that game won, but pitching let them down again.
Yeah. They'd probably be going for a sweep, 2:40 p.m. today. The Cardinals at 66-67.
They got killed last night.
Yeah, 13-1. I like my Orioles as a dessert, not as an opposing team.
Right.
So.
Or just outside, No.
What was the final, Tyrus, of that game?
Well, the Cardinals are in 3rd, 15.5 games out of first, 5 games out of the wild card. They got blown out 13-1. They can tie up the series at 6:45 p.m. tonight, and then hopefully they get back rolling.
What are we, 496 now?
Doesn't look good for them because they're 5.5 out of even getting into the playoffs.
Yep.
Not good.
That's not looking too hot right now, but maybe you can catch a little fire, but we'll see. The Yankees at 74-57, 3.5 out behind the Rays. They lost to the Astros yesterday, 9-7. They will tie up the series today with a win at 6:05 p.m. So, see what happens there. White Sox at 69-63, 2.5 games up in the lead for first. They won 11-7 against the Rangers. They go for the series win tonight at 6:40 p.m. And then we'll go to the WNBA here. The Indiana Fever are 25-14. They play the Connecticut Sun Friday at 6:30 p.m. Chicago Sky at 15-24 lost to the Connecticut Sun 87-81. And the Sky next play the New York Liberty Saturday at 12 o'clock. And the Sun are worse than the Sky, but hey, they won. So. And then the NFL news, the Chicago Bears have their last preseason game at 5 p.m. versus the Tennessee Titans this Saturday. So, and then it'll be like next week will be kind of like a little off week or like a little bye week.
Well, the whole preseason is off.
Yeah, and then that'll be when like cuts and stuff happen, and.
Yes.
And then it'll be on to the start of the season. And that's sports.
And that's sports with Tyrus Kileon, everybody. As we say, a pleasant good morning, everybody. And it's going to be a gorgeous day, sunny, breezy, and warmer. High of 85. The overnight low tonight 64. Tomorrow sunny and 83. We're just having beautiful weather. Currently 68 degrees. And we're honored to have anybody connected with Woodruff High School. is honored on this program because a lot of people thought by what was the vote of the school board, 4-3 to close Woodruff. And we're welcoming Mike Plunkett. Good morning, Mike. Well-known educator and coach, and a pretty good athlete in your day as well. Good morning, Mike.
First of all, good morning, Roger. Really happy to be here. Yeah, you know what? The older I get, the better I was as an athlete. So we'll start with that part. We know how that goes. But yeah, longtime educator. And you're right. It was a close vote to close Woodruff. I wish they never had. But you know what? There are some things going on at Woodruff right now that are wonderful.
That make you proud. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only trouble is they don't play football or basketball or any of the other sports. And I believe the swimming pool is dry now. Is it?
That is correct.
No water. And you don't use a swimming pool, it will deteriorate very rapidly. But that's another subject for another time. You're looking great. I think you're also known as, and you're the first person I ever met that had a complete heart transplant. What year did that happen?
That was in December of 2016. So we're coming up on my 10-year anniversary.
It is amazing.
It really is. It's incredible what they can do. And it's kind of interesting that I have met quite a few people who have had the same thing.
No kidding.
And I've even connected with a guy who recently had a heart transplant, whose daughter and my niece were college roommates at Kansas, and he's up in Chicago. So
what are the odds of that happening?
You know what? You wouldn't think so, but when I was up in Chicago waiting on my heart transplant, I met a guy up there who was from Metamora, and we all had the same doctors here in Peoria, never met each other. And then there was another young lady, another Woodruff person, I'll throw her name out there, Shay Weldy, because Shay's doing great. And Shay was about a year behind me in the process. As I was leaving the hospital with my new heart, she was in there getting what was called an LVAD to help the function of her heart until she got her transplant several months later. So it's a small world, but there's a lot of that happening, and thank goodness we have the medical care that we do have in Central Illinois.
What were your early symptoms, if I may ask, Mike?
You know, it was kind of a gradual thing.
You were a young man by all circumstances, relatively speaking.
I was, and probably things started really happening in 2008. And I was, kind of a regular jogger. I was never a runner. Mr. Poehls and I have that in common.
I'm an ambler.
I'm a walker.
Yeah, we were plotters. I'm out jogging one night and just didn't feel right. And it was, matter of fact, it was Woodruff's homecoming. I was assistant principal at Woodruff. This was 2008. Came home, tried to get something to eat, couldn't eat. Went over to the homecoming football game, didn't feel right. Told my wife, I said, I got to come home. I just don't feel good. Got a little bit sick that night, and I thought, well, that explains. I got the flu. That's okay. Well, Saturday, it just kept getting worse and worse. Finally, Saturday night, I convinced her to take me down to the ER, and 11 days later in the cardiac ICU, I came out with a diagnosis of cardiomyopathy and had a pacemaker and defibrillator put in, and that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah. And when did they determine that you needed a new heart? That they could only do so much?
Yeah, they got to a point where it was, we're going to try this, we're going to try that. It was a lot of electrical issues that were happening at first. And my doctor here in Peoria, Dr. Sarmiento, had a friend up at Loyola, and he had recommended that I see this guy, Dr. Wilbur, who is world-renowned in the electrical at Loyola, and went there, and they tried to do some things, but it was a deeper problem than that. So eventually I went to Northwestern. One was for, as we all know, insurance reasons, because they determined a heart transplant was going to be needed. That's exactly right. And secondly, Dr. Sarmiento had a father-in-law who had a heart transplant up at Northwestern. So that's how he ended up there, and that's kind of where my journey began. It was just electrical that then caused an enlargement of the heart.
Interesting. Is your favorite song, You Gotta Have Heart, Miles and Miles of Heart?
I do have an ornament that my wife bought in Chicago that instead of I left my heart in San Francisco, was I left my heart in Chicago. So that goes on our Christmas tree every year.
That's very good. Well, we're going to talk some more about Mike Plunkett, but not necessarily about his heart or his medical conditions. He's a longtime educator and has, I'll save it for when we get into the conversation. But there's a new term now in the media, and everybody's doing it. And the term is, what do you think that word is?
The term in the media?
Yeah, a new term. You never heard of it, and now everybody
I
uses
haven't heard of it, though.
influencer.
Oh, an influencer. Yeah.
Yeah, influencer. No, influencer. It is amazing how, I guess, every era has a situation where new words spring up and we run with it. But anyway, we're going to continue our conversation with Mike and talk about other things following an update with our news at... Brought to you this morning by, speaking of medical services and facilities, by our friends at AMT. And the people of Central Illinois, as Mike can testify, are blessed with outstanding medical facilities and health specialists. One of those, Advanced Medical Transport, caring for people with the best health professionals. More than 500 AMT men and women serving you and your family. Saving lives is what they do. And what we do is give you the news with Teri Chamberlain. Teri?
Well, Dolly Parton, considered by many as the greatest female vocalist of all time, has died at the age of 80. The iconic singer passed away at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville after a brief battle with cancer. The type of cancer was not identified. Parton has struggled emotionally after the death of her husband, Carl Dean, last year. Dolly won 11 Grammy Awards, 10 Country Music Awards, and was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during her legendary career. She also was nominated twice for Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Award. She had 25 songs reach #1 on Billboard and 42 career top 10 country albums, 110 career charted singles over the past 40 years. We're going to talk about the death of Parton with Dr. Gene Sidler at 7:15. In other news, there was a big Republican primary race in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate between Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. President Trump endorsed Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham. She was declared the winner. The judge in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial sent the jury home early yesterday after he denied the defense motion for a mistrial. The 36-year-old woman is accused of murdering her 3 young children in 2023. Mental health experts testified for and against Clancy and her state of mind when she strangled each child in the basement of her Duxbury, Massachusetts home. We'll talk about this case with Peoria defense attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning. In local news, the Peoria School District is without a financial officer, but new Superintendent Dr. Jerry Bell says the district is on schedule in preparing a budget for the current school year. So far, no explanation from anyone about the sudden resignation of Michael Curry as Chief Financial Officer after about 1 week on the job. Curry was hired from the Decatur School District. Reportedly, he took a job elsewhere. Tazewell County State's Attorney Kevin Johnson says his office is filing charges against 45-year-old Jason Rockhold of Washington. The former softball coach allegedly had sex with a minor multiple times in East Peoria between June 2022 and June 2025. He was previously charged with the same offense with the same victim in Woodford County. He remains behind bars. And finally, Peoria City Council has quickly denied requests by 2 Knoxville Avenue gas stations to sell alcohol. The BP stations in the 2300 and 4500 blocks had requested liquor licenses. Apparently, the council said you can pump gas, but unable to get gassed.
Yeah,
Well done.
yeah.
Neighbors were glad with the vote, which came without discussion, thanks to its inclusion on the consent agenda.
Yeah. I think we need to get rid of that story. Anyway, let's get into the weather, and it's brought to you by Steve Sink of PHX Affiliates, the largest downstate Illinois brokerage firm, headquartered right here in Peoria. Steve specializes in business mergers and acquisitions. He knows business. If you have any questions about, maybe you're interested in getting into the business or a business, or maybe you want to get out, he's the go-to guy. And you can receive Zinc at 309-696-8508. Now, what do you have for the weather, my friend Dave?
Well, what we have is a wonderful Wednesday on its way. Look out, that sun's shining. We're looking at a sunny, breezy, and warmer day today, a high 85. And then tonight we dip down to 64, and we're enjoying this low humidity, aren't we? Tomorrow looks to be sunny and 83. Get out there and work on that terrible golf game. Friday and Saturday, sunny with a high around 84. Sunday, we're going to be turning the heat up a little bit, getting up to 88. And so we got another great weekend for the annual Irish Festival downtown on the riverfront. Currently, we're holding at 70 balmy degrees.
Sounds good to me, and it's hard to believe just around the corner of the big Irish Fest. And if you're just joining us, we're visiting with special guest Mike Plunkett. And Mike, tell us a little bit about your background. Are you a native Peorian?
I am a native Peorian, born and raised here, went to Von Steuben Grade School, Woodruff High School, class of 1975. Went away to college, went down to SIU down in Carbondale, but then came back and spent the majority of my career teaching in Peoria. Had about 4-year visit over at Pekin, where I was athletic director at Pekin High School.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, at Pekin High School.
Yeah,
Really?
that was the early 2000s.
Yeah,
became athletic director there, and then had an opportunity to come back and get into building level administration as a principal, assistant principal, and so forth back in District 150. Came back and then retired. Once I retired, I worked over at Peoria, Notre Dame. Well, really worked in the Catholic high schools. Worked at St. Phil's for 1 year and Notre Dame for about 7 years. And then kind of officially retired from the educational business. And now I am, I guess my public school background got me hired here because I am now bailiff down at Peoria County Courthouse. when I interviewed, what did you do for a living? I'm a retired principal in District 150. You're hired.
You're perfect.
You're hired.
You're perfect for that. What influenced you, speaking of influencer, to go in the direction of education, to work with young people?
When I retired from high school, I was, like a lot of people, I was absolutely clueless. I'm 69. I'm still kind of clueless, but working on it. But I had no idea what I wanted to do. Had an opportunity. I started coaching at what was then Thomas Jefferson Grade School. As a matter of fact, one of my...
Well, what year are we talking about?
This was fall of 1975. Mm-hmm. So I started coaching at Thomas Jefferson. I was coaching, and the programs were run by the Park District back then. People think they make no money now. We made no money back then. So I was doing some part-time work, but I was coaching and just kind of fell in love with the whole educational part at that point and said, this is what I want to do. And that's when I decided it was time for me to grow up, go away, go to school, and get my degree and come back and start working.
I know you've been asked this question before, I'm sure, but starting with your early days as a teacher in public education, make the comparison on average of today's student compared to when you first started.
I think, the kids have changed. Obviously they have, but I think that probably the biggest thing that you see is that the family structure has changed. And I think that's where it all begins. I just think it's there's just more situations of single parenting and not quite as much of a family value. I think we've kind of gone into the situation. I remember as a kid, my mom didn't work. We had 5 kids and she stayed home.
Neither did mine.
Yeah, my dad was working in grocery stores, the old John B. grocery store up on Prospect, if you remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
I sure do remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were not wealthy by any means, but you made do. We had 5 kids in the house and you did. And I think we got to a point in society everybody wanted what their parents had when their parents got to be 60 and had established themselves. Everybody wanted that at 20. And the only way you could get that is if you've got 2 incomes, and now the kids are kind of left, who's going to take care of them, or puts a lot of stress on the family. And I think the family structure has just changed, and I think that has changed schools quite a bit. Kids are kids. I mean, I still think the majority of kids that we have in our schools are good kids, but they just have some, we keep using that word influence, but they are influenced by a lot of the wrong people, and they follow the wrong crowd.
I think it's harder for kids to grow up today than it was when we were younger, and I certainly go back further than all of you in this room. The influences on young people today are far greater, more serious than, the big deal for me growing up as a kid was whether I was going to secretly puff on a cigarette or not. Today, the influence is whether or not you're going to puff on weed.
Right.
And I
right.
remember my two sons telling me that when they went to Peoria High School, and I don't mind, I've shared this story before, I learned later that every time they went, not every time, they'd go into the boys' restroom, there was someone offering weed. And I said, why didn't you tell your dad? And they said, you want us to get killed?
When I was growing up, the only weed I got was one in the garden. My dad offered me that. Go pull those.
Go pull those
If you want dinner, you're going to pull those.
But it's
weeds.
hard for kids today to grow up. There are too many bad things and bad people.
Right. When we were in school, and you know, when I started at Woodruff High School in 1971, it was kind of at the tail end of some of the racial tensions in the city of Peoria. We had some of our racial riots going on, which was kind of an eye opener from a little freshman, from Von Steuben's school, kind of an eye opener. But nobody thought about the weapons in terms of guns and shootings and those kind of things. There were things that happened and things that should have never happened, some violence, but you never felt like you were in danger of somebody coming into a school and with the weapon. Now that's always got to be on the back of everybody's mind because the weapons are, working down at the courthouse now as a bailiff. I am seeing, so many young kids that are coming in as juveniles and with weapons charges, and it's very disturbing.
Yeah, I give you an opportunity to get yourself in a little trouble with this question. You've been in both public and parochial school systems. What do you see are the distinct differences?
Well, probably the biggest thing is, when you're in the private sector, private schools, you got parents who are paying $8,000 a year for tuition. If they get a phone call from a teacher that says, your son or daughter is doing this, or that, they're not very happy because they know that they're not guaranteed a spot. And so I think that family part of things now comes in, and the family is going to be a little more solid in terms of we're going to sit on top of our kid and we're going to support the school rather than the kid because we know the schools could let our kid go at any time. So I think it's the family, the value of education maybe just seem to be a little bit stronger. Maybe it's financially driven. Dave, you may know a little more on that too, but
financially driven.
You paid that tuition.
I did, yes, yeah. It's I would agree with you. You definitely you want a rebate from your own kid.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of rebate, I always felt it was unfair, and I'm a Methodist, by the way. I always thought it was unfair for Catholic families to pay your $8,000 a year. You're also paying taxes for the public school system. Somehow, there should be legislation, if there isn't already, that you get tax credits. You hear all the time this legislator that wanted to give tax credits for tip for this and that, but the Catholic families never get a tax credit, do they not?
No, they don't. They you're right. If you live in the city of Peoria and you choose to send your kids to any of the private schools, you are still paying those.
You bet.
Your property taxes just like we are, plus you're paying that tuition. I also want to add, the private school kids are not perfect,
You're kidding.
They just
I am shocked.
I want to get that out there. They're not. They know how to get away with things a little bit. They're smart.
They read the manual.
They're shifty. No.
You read the manual, Peoria manual. Was that it?
Well,
the
owner's manual. Yeah.
Yeah, the owner's manual is right. But I am convinced, and this is something I'd like to say on air is, teachers in District 150 get a bad rap. I think teachers in District 150 are outstanding. They are great teachers.
Absolutely.
And they do unbelievable jobs, unbelievable work. And, a lot of times people say, you're going to get a better education in a private school or this. You may not, but you're going to get great teachers at public schools, particularly in the city of Peoria. And I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I go back long, many years ago, and I respected every teacher. Even so, there's one. We'll throw that one out and put that over to the side and forget about that one. But I was always in awe of people like Kenny Wagner and Earl Skaggs, my history teacher, and Tommy Corral, the coach, although I didn't play. We had PE classes, and Charlie Gross, and so many. Roy Gummerson, going back even further, the track coach. Yeah. And that's just at Woodruff, It's replicated at Peoria Manual, at Peoria High School, and Richwoods.
Mike,
great leaders in our community.
Yeah, I was just going to say we've had that. We actually taught together, but you're right. Look at some of our colleagues.
Oh.
My goodness gracious! And I made the point too, the mentors that I had, and I think you had also too. But I'll tell you what, you're right. I want to echo that. We have phenomenal teachers in this district.
When I came to Peoria High to teach in 1985, Corky Robertson was the principal.
Corky Robertson,
Hall of Famer.
yeah,
Jim
yeah.
Smargessi was the athletic
Yeah.
director. Hall of Famer. You had Larry Lavery.
Football
Larry
coach,
Lavery,
yeah.
football coach, Hall of Famer. Chuck Vischer, basketball coach, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Phil Salzer, Hall of Famer. In this room as well, Salzer's a Hall of Famer. I know that.
You're right.
Mike Olson. You just look at
Well,
look
you
at Mike
listed-
Lawless.
You
Just
listed the good ones, and you included Mike Olson in that?
well, just in case he's listening. Yeah. But that's
God love
I look
Mike.
for that
yeah.
phone call pretty quick now.
Yeah, hang up if he calls.
But when you're around people like that, and I tell young teachers, when I became an administrator, I said the smartest thing I ever did in education was when I was in a room with those guys, I listened. Yeah. I didn't talk, I listened, and I learned. And Dave said it. We just had unbelievable mentors. I go to breakfast on Friday mornings a lot, and I have guys in there like Bob Carruthers, one of the best educators.
Neat guy, Bob
yeah.
Carruthers.
Bob Smith.
Mm-hmm.
one of my
Legendary
favorites.
Bob Easter,
Yeah.
John Helmick. Think about these are guys I'm having breakfast with, and I'm on Friday mornings, and you just listen to these guys and the stories and the things they can bring to you. It's incredible, and I'm very grateful to have friends like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly the salt of the earth, and I think we're blessed in this part of the country, frankly speaking, in this part of the state of Illinois, with the quality and the character of our leaders. And I think every young man and young girl who particularly enters into coaching or in sports are help in the development of character. And that's not taken away from other kids who are leaders in the academia as well. We just don't have typically a Hall of Fame, although we have the Jefferson or what is the annual event where students, National Honor Society won.
Right, Sterling Merritt.
Sterling Merritt, thank you.
Sure.
You bet. And they are recognized as
Right.
well. The unfortunate part of all of this is that too many of the bad kids, and there aren't, percentage-wise, quite small, get the headlines, unfortunately, in the media.
Well, and people will talk to me and say, "Oh, you're working down at the courthouse. I bet you see a lot of former students." Yes, I do, but you know what? 2 of them are judges.
Yeah.
2 former students from Peoria High School are judges right now.
And they
So,
turned out okay.
They turned out okay in spite of my efforts, so we're very proud of them.
In spite of my failure,
That's right.
They were successful. We're talking with Mike Plunkin, longtime educator and a coach and a community leader, and we'll continue. But first, we're going to pause for our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. A very unique and beautiful member of the horse family is the zebra. Zebras are considered the only true wild horses in the world today. Though much like the horse, the zebra's stripes make them very different. If you look closely, you will notice that they have long faces, big eyes, smaller hooves, stiffer manes, and are shorter than the common horse. Also, their ears are longer. At first glance, zebras in a herd might all look alike, but their stripe patterns are as distinctive as fingerprints in humans. Scientists can identify individual zebras by comparing patterns, stripe widths, color, and scars. One more interesting fact, their stripes are not just in their hair. It is believed that their skin is actually striped as well. All foals have a close association with their mothers. The male foals are close to the fathers. The males will leave their birth herd on their own accord between the ages of only 1 and 4 years to join an all-male bachelor group until they are strong enough to head a family of their own. The lifespan of a zebra in captivity can be 40 years. Exotic animals, however, should not be kept as pets. Their care is very specialized and expensive, so please enjoy them in the wildlife parks and zoos. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Thank you, Linda. Weather-wise, we were going to tell you it's going to be another gorgeous day today. Sunny, breezy, and warmer with a high of 85. Right now, we're at 68 degrees. And if you're just joining us, we're talking with longtime educator and coach and community leader, Mike Plunkett. And I know you want to pick his brain a little bit, Dave Poehls, about his athletic background.
Well, and Mike's been an inspiration to many in this community, too. But, Mike, one of the questions I had, too, you've been courtside for a variety of contests for the high school and, to be honest, college, too. So I guess the question would be, do you have any memories, things that stand out as far as some of the events that you were not only witness to but participant in?
You know, probably the thing that first comes to mind is when I was an assistant coach at Peoria High in the boys basketball program, and we were starting to, Manuel's always good. We're talking, the mid to late 80s, and we're starting to build up a program again, that had. They had gotten second in the state in '83, had a couple down years, but were coming back up. They found out the gyms couldn't hold those games anymore, so they moved them to Robertson Memorial Fieldhouse. And being a part of that, a Friday night on just a regular season basketball game where there's 7,000 people in the Fieldhouse watching two high school teams play is just, I just felt unbelievably blessed to be a part of that because, what did I do to deserve that? And there I am. And legendary coaches. And I was talking to, I was telling you off air, Dave, most mornings I have coffee with Chuck Westendorf and Chuck Bisher, good friends. And Bish was talking the other day, and he said, one of those Manual Central games, there's only 10 guys on the floor, but there were 11 guys on both teams that ended up being Division I basketball players. So it's like watching college basketball those nights. So you take those games and you take the sectional games at the Fieldhouse. Anybody that went to games at the Fieldhouse knows the magic with those things anyway. Then I got to be working the scores table for Bradley and the state tournament. Had a very memorable high school basketball game during Manual state tournament run where they were playing Thornton out of Chicago, out of Harvey Thornton, and Thornton had 2 or 3 NBA, NFL players. They had,
you're kidding,
Ty
really?
Streets, if you remember that name, Antoine Randall L., who is still coaching in the NFL, Melvin Eli. These guys are on Thornton's team. Man just got all their loaded talent.
Was Ron Ferguson, did he coach at Thornton High School?
He coached at Thorn Ridge.
Oh, Thorn Ridge.
Back when they had
I knew
Clint
it
Buckner
was
and
a
those
Thorny
guys.
in
That was
there
72,
somewhere.
wasn't it 72?
There was a thorn in there. And I just remember I'm running the clock, and that was when they used to have to play a game on Friday to get to play 2 games on Saturday in the state tournament. And Manual and Thornton are playing on Saturday morning, and Thornton gets up. It's 18-4, and they're just loaded. And there's a timeout, and everybody's going crazy. Next thing you know, halftime, Manual's ahead. And then the second half starts. Thornton comes out again and gets about a 10-point lead. And next thing you know, Manual's catching them and winning it. He said that was just a special, special Manual team and a special game. And just kind of being a part of it kind of on the outside, but still being involved in it was a lot of fun.
At the Civic Center?
That was at the Civic Center.
That's what I thought, the Civic Center is quite an asset. But I will tell you, you'll never at the Civic Center for a variety of reasons, one of which is just the physical environment, beat the atmosphere, the electricity at Robertson Fieldhouse. And so many coaches have privately said, we're not coming back here because it was a juggernaut. I mean, the atmosphere was so beneficial to Bradley because of the fandom, and again because of the physical atmosphere of the Fieldhouse.
Yeah,
the raised
court,
floor.
the
we were
raised
just
court.
going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
gotta
remember
chase that foul ball chase that ball off the court really
you had
quick.
to be careful running off the floor. I remember early on we used to do a River City shootout. We'd bring teams in from around, and we had that. And we're playing at the Fieldhouse, and it's Peoria High playing Chicago King with Sonny Cox, the legendary Sonny Cox.
Sonny Cox, yeah.
And Sonny was the first guy ever that said, I'm going to put my chair up on the floor, and I'm going to coach from up on the floor. And he did that instead of sitting down on, where you were on the concrete and the floor was raised 3 feet or whatever. Sonny put his chair up there, and he coached. So Bisher said, okay, if you're going up there, I'm going to do the same thing. Of course, Sonny had he had 2 7-footers that year. He had a pretty good team, so he could do whatever he wanted to. But I always remember that was kind of his. As you're talking about coaches that come in there and the disadvantage, he said, "I'm going to turn it into my advantage, and I'm putting that chair up there."
Yeah, you're right. Here's a little factoid, and I'm not eligible, unfortunately, to be in the Greater Peoria Sports Hall of Fame, but I deserve it because I probably played there more than anybody realizes. As a member of the crew that worked in the Fieldhouse.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
As a student, I made a little money on the side. We put the floor up every year, took it down every year, and cleaned it up after Bradley basketball games. So I have a sense of empathy for that structure that I thought never should have been torn down, but it's just now a memory, but a wonderful memory.
Wonderful memory.
And you never had to worry about ice underneath it, did you?
No, you have to worry about the ice.
No, that's right.
I've got a part of the bleachers and one of the chair seats and a brick.
You got it from Ken Golden, I'll bet.
No, you know what? There was an auction and one of the Stolls got it for me. We bid on it, but we got that. That's in my basement, and I also remember going to games as a kid. I remember also. When I was coaching grade school, they let grade school kids play preliminary games there sometimes. You could get your team in there to play
on weekends, right?
To play. Yeah. And so, just great. And even the days where there used to be the junior varsity games when the freshmen weren't eligible to play varsity basketball at the college level, they'd have JV games before the varsity games. So we would just kind of wander in. I don't want to say sneak in. We'd wander in, then we'd find a spot to hang around for the Bradley game that night.
Yeah. And I think, based on my limited knowledge of what they were thinking in administration, I think they knew that and looked the other way.
Yeah. As I got older and became an administrator, those are some of the things you said. Hey, these kids could be doing a lot worse than hanging out in this place.
Yeah, you're right. Good memories, Mike Plunkett.
Great memories. Yes.
All right, we're going to wrap things up for this hour on Breakfast with Roger and Friends. And as you know, one of the top stories is the passing of the legendary Dolly Parton. This is one of the great stars from 9 to 5.
Tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5. For service and devotion, you would think that I would deserve a bad promotion. Want to move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me. They let you dream just to watch them shatter. You're just a step on the boss man's ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take away. Same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day your ship will come in and the tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way. place, working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They must use your mind and you never get the credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you think about it, don't you? It's a rich man's game, no matter what they call it. And you spend your life putting money in his wallet. 9 to 5, oh, what a way to make a living. Getting by, it's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you.
What a great song. What a great singer as we mourn the passing of the legendary singer Dolly Parton. Well, we're a little late getting into the news, but never too late to bring you up to date on what's happening locally and nationally and worldwide. And we start with the check of the weather brought to you by Spoon River Home Health. Been around since 1993 providing home health care. And, of course, the staff includes skilled nurses, therapists, and home care assistants. They're locally owned and operated. Good people at Spoon River Home Health, available 24/7. You can reach them today at 309-245-0723. And with the weather, here's Dave.
Well, we're looking at our Wednesday starting off sunny, breezy, and warmer today. A high of 85. Really nice looking day out there. Tonight's low getting down to 64 degrees. Tomorrow, sunny and 83. That good weather continues. Friday and Saturday, sunny with highs around 84. Sunday, it's going to start getting a little warmer, up to 88. But this looks like a great weekend for the annual Ehrenfest, the Irish Fest celebration on the riverfront. So get out there and enjoy. And currently, we're looking at 69 degrees.
Boy, that's going to be a big event. They may draw the record crowd this year because the weather
great.
is
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah. No more mud down there,
Yeah,
right?
you got it.
Yeah.
All right, now a check of the news brought to you by your hometown community banks, Division Morton Community Bank. 50 locations in Central Illinois to serve you. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. Member FDIC. With our lead story, here's Terry.
Well, as we've been discussing this morning, Dolly Parton, considered by many as the greatest female vocalist of all time, has died at the age of 80. The iconic singer passed away at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville after a brief battle with cancer. The type of cancer was not identified. Parton has struggled emotionally after the death of her husband, Carl Dean, in March of last year.
Dolly Parton won 11 Grammy Awards, 10 Country Music Awards, and was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during her legendary career. She also was nominated twice for Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Award. She was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1984. She had 25 songs reach #1 on Billboard and 42 career top 10 country albums, a record for any artist, and 110 career charted singles over the past 40 years. And those hits included Jolene.
And some other songs as well. And here's
I was soft inside. There was something going on. Hold me closer and I feel no pain. Every beat of my heart. We got something going on. Tender love is blind. It requires a dedication. All this love we feel needs no conversation. We ride together, making love with each other. Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong? Sail away with me to another world, and we rely on each other. From one lover to
President Trump has
another.
ordered American flags to be flown at half-staff nationwide for 1 whole week in her honor, and we'll be playing some more of her songs, of her hits, throughout this morning's program.
Everything means nothing.
In other news, there was a big Republican primary race in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate between Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. President Trump endorsed Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham.
The judge in the Lindsey Clancy murder trial sent the jury home early yesterday after he denied the defense motion for a mistrial. The 36-year-old woman is accused of murdering her 3 young children in 2023. Mental health experts testified for and against Clancy and her state of mind when she strangled each child in the basement of her Duxbury, Massachusetts home. A psychologist told the court the mother was criminally responsible for the murders. We're going to talk about this case with Peoria defense attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning.
The Iranian government is showing its hatred for the United States with news they're targeting assassination efforts towards President Trump's 20-year-old son, Barron. He's currently attending New York University. The U.S. Secret Service said it was aware of a video on Iranian state television announcing a $10 million award to anyone providing Barron's location.
Ohio Democrat Representative Joyce Beatty has filed an emergency motion to halt President Trump's planned 2-year renovation of the famed Kennedy Center. The entertainment venue is in need of complete modernization and updating due to aging deterioration. The Democrat is angry the center has approved the renaming of the facility after Trump. A federal judge has agreed. However, an attorney with the Justice Department warned the federal court if the renovation plans are blocked, steps will be taken to demolish the aging structure and replace it with an amphitheater.
In local news, the Peoria School District is without a financial officer, but news superintendent Dr. Jerry Bell says the district is on schedule and preparing a budget for the current school year. So far, no explanation from anyone about the sudden resignation of Michael Curry as chief financial officer after about 1 week on the job. Curry was hired from the Decatur School District. Reportedly, he took a job elsewhere.
Tazewell County State's Attorney Kevin Johnson says his office is filing charges against 45-year-old Jason Rockhold of Washington. The former softball coach allegedly had sex with a minor multiple times in East Peoria between June 2022 and June 2025. He was previously charged with the same offense with the same victim in Woodford County. He remains behind bars.
And Peoria City Council has quickly denied requests by 2 Knoxville Avenue gas stations to sell alcohol. The BP stations in the 2300 and 4500 blocks had requested liquor licenses. Apparently, the council said you can pump gas, but get this, unable to get gas.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger.
They do sell Pepto-Bismol.
Yes,
to help you
they
in
do.
certain cases.
And neighbors were glad with the vote, which came without discussion thanks to its inclusion on the consent agenda. And those are our headline news for this half hour.
And we turn to WCBU for their news report.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ryan Denham. A global renewable energy firm is looking to build a 113-turbine wind farm in northwest Peoria County. Repsol Renewables of Spain has submitted an application for the Four Creeks wind development, covering 27,000 acres from Princeville and Brimfield to the county lines. Peoria County Director of Planning and Zoning, Andrew Braun, says this first step is requesting permission to proceed with the project.
The building permit stage would follow in the next 5 or so years, and it would require a whole laundry list full of additional regulations.
The first of several days of public input is scheduled for September 14th at the Holiday Inn in Grand Prairie. The 54 FLAC license plate reading cameras in Pekin will remain there for another year. The City Council voted 6-1 in renewing its annual contract with FLAC for a 4th year. A state grant covering the approximately $160,000 cost of the cameras expires next year. Councilmember Peg Phillips says she doesn't want to face telling a parent that the city no longer had one means of finding a missing child.
I would hate to be standing in front of that person and say, I chose to do away with the tool that could be helping me right now. We know in real life that this has helped people in Pekin.
Rick Hilst cast a lone no vote. 11 FLAC opponents from Pekin and nearby communities spoke during public comment. Peoria Mayor Rita Ali says the city has been approached in the past about potential data centers, but she doesn't expect anything to come of it. Ali says the main reason for minimal interest in a Peoria data center is a lack of sufficient electrical grid capacity.
It's a very politically charged issue, but it doesn't look like we'll be entertaining data centers in Peoria anytime soon.
Ali says the city's input regarding data centers has come primarily through the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. A new state law will help patients get medications they need to manage pain after surgical procedures. Previously, drugs like morphine or codeine could not be transferred to a new pharmacy without an entirely new prescription. At the federal level, these drugs were able to be transferred, but Illinois law imposed tighter restrictions that have now been loosened. You can find more news at wcbu.org. I'm Ryan Denham.
All right, Ryan, now we go to Tyrus with the latest in the world of sports. Tyrus, good morning to you guys.
Good morning, Roger. Thank you. Let's start with some Peoria sports news. The Peoria Chiefs at 56-63 play today against the West Michigan Whitecaps at 6:35 p.m. The affiliate with the Detroit Tigers. They play at 6:35 p.m. today, as I already said, so I said that twice. They start an away series today, and it is 5 games left on the road, and then they will have 6 home games to finish off the season. MLB news: the Cubs are in second place, 5.5 out of first, 76-57. Lost to the Diamondbacks last night, or they got walked off, really, 5-4. So they gave up all 5 of those runs in the last 2 innings.
Yeah.
They play the rubber match today at 2:40 p.m. today. The Cardinals at 66-67 in third, 15.5 games out of first, 5 games out of the wild card spot. They got blown out last night, 13-1. They can by the Orioles, and they can tie it up the series tonight at 6:45 p.m. I'd say the only good news right now for the Cardinals is in the minors. You know,
I was just gonna say,
some of the
tell
prospects.
Tell us something good.
Well, I think it's either the past 3 or 4 games. Reinel Rodriguez,
Oh, yeah. That's good.
who's our top prospect, has
And-
had multi-homer games in the past 3 games or so.
And September 12th, Yachty and Poehls are going into the Cardinals Hall of
There you
Fame.
go.
So there's some good
That's
news.
good. That'll be really fun.
Yep. I'm going to go see that.
Oh, yeah. The Yankees at 74-57, 3.5 games behind the Rays. They lost to the Astros yesterday, 9-7. They will they will look to tie up the series today with a win today at 6:05 p.m. The White Sox at 69-63, 2.5 games up in the lead for first. They won yesterday, 11-7. Against the Rangers, they go for the series win tonight at 6:40 p.m. The Phillies at 73-60 in second, 4.5 games out of first. Lost to the Phillies, 6-4. We'll try not to get swept today at 3:10 p.m. The Brewers at 81-51 in first. Lost to Well, I don't know. They just keep winning and find ways to win. They lost to the Mets 3-2. They look to tie the series up at 6:10 p.m. tonight. And then we'll move on to the WNBA here. The Indiana Fever are 25-14. They play the Connecticut Sun Friday at 6:30 p.m. Chicago Sky at 15-24 lost to the Connecticut Sun yesterday. The Sky next play the New York Liberty Saturday at 12 o'clock. NFL news: the Chicago Bears have their last preseason game at 5 p.m. versus the Tennessee Titans. So then next week, and they're going to be cutting some people.
Yeah,
getting that.
Maybe the whole team. What's your assessment, panel? I don't see the Bears doing much of anything this year.
Why? Why is that?
Well, I know preseason games don't mean a whole lot, but they haven't shown, and they do have some starting players on the line and so forth. But I don't see them doing anything great, to tell you the truth. But what do I know about it? I've been wrong about just about everything.
Well, they do have one of the toughest divisions, I would say. So it's.
You think they're tough? I think it's competitive, but. Green Bay doesn't look that good.
Yeah, but
they got a lot of injuries.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, the Bears are going through some injuries right now too. But
so this program.
Yeah, right. I think they could have some sustained success though. Finally.
Okay. Well, let's hope
we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. All right. And that's sports.
That's sports.
You bet. And we continue. I have 67 degrees, and weather-wise, tell you today's going to be a beautiful day, warming up to around 85. Well, we are mourning the death, the passing of the legendary country singer Dolly Parton, and I thought maybe we would weigh in a little bit from a medical perspective with Dr. Gene Sidler, and Dr. Sidler's on the line. Good morning, Gene.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Yeah, I know at this particular point we're almost giving a curbside perspective of Dolly Parton, but we talked about losing her husband last year of close to 6 years of marriage. That had to have a traumatic effect on her and so forth. That can have an effect physically, can it not?
Oh, it probably does. Stress from any source can have an effect on anyone's health. Stress can cause a number of problems, and we don't know if it had effects on Dolly here in the last year or so, and how it may have contributed to her health declining. But yes, it certainly does have effects physically when you have a loved one die and they've been married for many decades.
Yeah. And then I did read that she was hospitalized and apparently has had an ongoing challenge with kidney stones. Tell us about kidney stones. I've talked to people who have them, and they can be very painful.
Well, yes, she has mentioned that before in interviews and in appearances, that she has dealt with kidney stones and been treated for them on multiple occasions. And that's not unusual for people who are prone to having kidney stones. They tend to be recurrent. Let me first say that about 1 in 10 people suffer from kidney stones, so it's a fairly common problem. Yes, and if a person has a kidney stone, then they are much more likely to have another one. About 50% of people that have one will have another one or multiple ones in the future. So it has to do with a person's metabolism, and in some ways it's genetic. So we do see that it can run in families. So there's a genetic factor which obviously we can't change, but there are other factors that come with the lifestyle and diet and so forth that can increase your chances of having kidney stones. And so there are some modifications to those factors that we can recommend to people that may reduce their chances of having more kidney stones. Now kidney stones are caused by elements in our blood and in our body fluids that aren't very dissolvable, that the body still has to get rid of. And so our body will put that out in our urine, and in some cases, those substances, usually calcium-type substances, will crystallize and start to build upon one another, and these crystals will form initially small stones, which then, of course, can get larger with time. They may try to pass, and the connection between our kidneys and our bladder is a very small duct called the ureter, and it's got a very small diameter, only a couple of millimeters, so a stone can get lodged in that ureter, and that's where the pain comes from. When you hear about kidney stone pain being some of the more severe types of pain that our body will give us, that is how that happens. It causes severe spasm of the ureter, which has got very sensitive nerves in it, and it can cause back pressure into the kidneys and cause pain up in the kidneys as well. There are ways that the body will eventually try to pass that stone, but now we have methods medically to help get rid of those stones that are lodged in the ureter. Once it gets past the ureter and into the bladder, the diameter of the passages from there on out is much larger, and it usually does pass on out. But there can be kidney stones as big as your fist that can get lodged. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a collecting area. There's a collecting area that's like a funnel that collects all the urine from the areas in the kidneys that produce it. And sometimes stones can get caught in that area there. It's called the kidney pelvis, actually, and that those extremely large stones used to have to be removed surgically with an open operation. Now we've got this procedure called lithotripsy. It's a shock wave type of sonar treatment that can break that stone into smaller, tiny fragments that may then pass. So now we can deal with that a little bit, maybe safer in a sense of not having to do a large involved surgery to get people's stones removed. But yes, it's a very painful condition, and people who have had them, they'll tell you that, and they know when it's coming because they can feel it, and once you've had one, you know what it feels like.
What was your reaction when a member of the family announced that Dolly, after a brief period, died of cancer? Any conclusions that you can reach, or any observations? Because that's pretty vague and pretty generalized. And what was your reaction?
Well, we've had such limited amount of the information given out by family. The quote was that she died after a brief battle with cancer. Now, we don't know if that means that she died from the cancer or if the cancer was a contributing cause, or how that all played out. But cancer, that steps up the concern of her health a great deal more. She had been admitting to having the kidney stone problems and some autoimmune problems over the last year or two. And again, that was never really detailed in a fashion to know exactly where she was referring to with that autoimmune problem. She had described some intestinal problems, that her gut wasn't working right. But overall, she had been looking healthy. She was still performing up until just a few months ago, and she had a residency stay in Las Vegas scheduled last December that she had to cancel and push back, and it was rescheduled for this coming September, and now she's had canceled that again. But again, very few details given out about why. But the cancer diagnosis, I think we'll learn more about it, and more details will come out about it and how it played a part in her illness this past week. She only had been hospitalized since last Friday, and then it must have had some serious complications because that changed very quickly with her death yesterday.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite Dolly Parton song?
That's the thing about Dolly Parton, is that she appealed to people in multiple genres of music and entertainment. And the other thing about Dolly that I think is just amazing is how she managed for 60 years or more of her career not to offend anybody by taking political stances. Yeah. I mean, she is loved by everyone, and that's something you don't see in the entertainment business nowadays so much. People seem to want to use their position to push political messages, and Dolly managed to avoid doing that throughout her life. We don't know where she stood on a lot of different topics, and that's probably a good thing. As far as maybe a favorite song, I think The Coat of Many Colors. It has a little bit of a biblical connection with the story in Genesis of Joseph and his coat of many colors. But in her case, of course, it relates to her own childhood and the poverty that her family had, and her mother was able to sew together rags to make a coat for her in the wintertime. And yeah, it's a very moving story and a very nice song.
Yeah. Coat of Many Colors. I must confess that I'm not familiar with that
Years
song.
I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth, and I recall a box of grapes that
Did you ever go to Dollywood? I know you're well traveled, and you were kind of in that neighborhood recently. Did you ever go to Dollywood?
Well, no, we did not go to the park itself. It's a massive, huge entertainment complex, somewhat similar to a Disney park, located just a little north of Gatlinville in Sevierville, Tennessee, and that's actually the town that she grew up in. Her home still exists, the home she lived with her family, but that original home is not a tourist attraction. It's very hard to get to. You have to take unpaved roads up in the hills and mountains to even get to it. But it is recreated in Dollywood, a replica of the home that she grew up in, and people can visit that there. But we drove past it, and of course, very busy area, and as I said, very large complex with roller coasters and the whole ball of wax for a large park like that. But yes, there's so much that revolves around Dolly in that area. In Pigeon Forge, there's multiple entertainment venues that have shows, country western shows, and even popular music shows that are connected to Dolly Parton, and it draws in millions and millions of tourists. We kind of stayed away from that area just because of how busy and how commercialized it is. You can't drive through Pigeon Forge without being impressed with just how commercialized this little town is.
Yeah. Well, as always, we thank you for your input and your observations, and I know you join, and all of us who are fans in one dimension or another, that may she rest in peace.
Yes, and it's just amazing how youthful she looked right up until we hear about her passing. She was a very active person. I remember her performing at the halftime of was it a Dallas Cowboys
Yes.
playoff game or something, and that was only 2, 3, 4 years ago, and she was dressed in a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader outfit, and she just looked incredible. She looked like a teenager performing out there.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks, Dr. Sidler. Appreciate it very much, as always. Thank you.
You bet.
You bet.
See you, everybody.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't hurt me. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. You could have your choice of men, but I could never love again. He's the only one for
With a
me.
different audience, a little different folks listening. Now, tell us about who Jolene was.
Well, there wasn't really a Jolene per se, but it was inspired by an incident. One day, she and her husband, Carl Dean, went to the bank, and the teller was getting a little flirty
Oh, okay.
with her husband, and it upset her a little bit. And she watched that, and as so many things, because triggered a song with her. And as she said, Jolene wound up being a compilation of many people.
Many Jolenes.
many Jolenes, yes.
Yeah.
But it just...
Interesting story. And did she write this song?
Yes.
Because she did write a number of songs, including for other artists.
Yes.
As I recall.
Yep, she did. I saw a clip last night, I think it was on Instagram, and she was on the Johnny Carson show, and she had a guitar with her, and she just put together a little song about how she had done this, but it wasn't until she got on the Johnny Carson show and made it. And he's just sitting there, and he's got this smile just a mile wide from...
she was unfolding her talents right before his eyes.
Yep.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, since we're talking about the news, I guess we, at the bottom of the hour, will bring you the news as we do every day at this time. A reminder reminder for investment questions and additional information, particularly about Wall Street, consider Bob Manning of the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in Peoria. Bob is a senior vice president, has been in the investment advisory field for more than 27 years. And you can reach Bob Manning at 309-671-4653. He's available. And a little reminder, Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. With the news, here's Terry.
Dolly Parton, considered by many as the greatest female vocalist of all time, has died at the age of 80. The iconic singer passed away at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville after a brief battle with cancer. The type of cancer has not been identified. Parton had struggled emotionally after the death of her husband, Carl Dean, in March of last year. Dolly Parton won 11 Grammy Awards, 10 Country Music Awards, and was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during her legendary career. She also was nominated twice for Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Award. She had 25 songs reach number 1 on Billboard and 42 career top 10 country albums, and 110 career charted singles over the past 40 years. In other news, there was a big Republican primary race in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate between Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. President Trump endorsed Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham, and she was declared the winner. The judge in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial sent the jury home early yesterday after he denied the defense's motion for a mistrial. The 36-year-old woman is accused of murdering her 3 young children in 2023. Mental health experts testified for and against Clancy and her state of mind when she strangled each child in the basement of her Duxbury, Massachusetts home. We're going to talk about this case with Peoria defense attorney Kevin Sullivan around 7:30 this morning. In local news, the Peoria School District is without a financial officer, but new Superintendent Dr. Jerry Bell says the district is on schedule in preparing a budget for the current school year. So far, no explanation from anyone about the sudden resignation of Michael Curry as Chief Financial Officer after about 1 week on the job. Curry was hired from the Decatur School District. Reportedly, he's taken a job elsewhere. Tazewell County State's Attorney Kevin Johnson says his office is filing charges against 45-year-old Jason Rockhold of Washington. The former softball coach allegedly had sex with a minor multiple times in East Peoria between June 2022 and June 2023. He was previously charged with the same offense with the same victim in Woodford County. He remains behind bars. And Peoria City Council has quickly denied a request by 2 Knoxville Avenue gas stations to sell alcohol. The BP stations in the 2300 and 4500 blocks had requested liquor licenses. Apparently, the council said you can pump gas, but you won't be able to get gassed. Neighbors were glad with the vote, which came without discussion, thanks to its inclusion on the consent agenda. And those are the headlines.
You know, that story does raise eyebrows a little bit. Are there gas stations that do sell alcohol, like does Casey's have booze available?
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Depending on the city, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's actually more common.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good idea? I know we could debate it. Some people say, well, what difference does it make if it doesn't get it at a gas station? They'll get it at a packaged liquor store or whatever. But, you know, we have this challenge about drinking and driving, and so you can drive into a gas station and get booze. But you can't open it, and if you do, you can't drink it, for that matter. Well, those are good legal questions. We'll ask Kevin Sullivan when he gets there. Oh, he's there!
If we only knew an attorney. Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's do the weather before we get into Kevin Sullivan. And a check of the weather brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Now listing a beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in the city, but with an amazing view of the countryside from a gorgeous living room. This home has a beautiful kitchen with adjoining dining room plus other wonderful amenities. You can get all the exciting details from Kathy Reynolds at 309-696-2162. And a check of the weather Dave, what do you have over there?
Well, as I lean
the
forward, right?
luxury of your chair.
Absolutely.
I thought you were going
I
to
was
fall
relaxed.
out of the chair.
Well, the
for a
weather's
moment.
so nice, I was starting to
You were
relax, is what I was
dozing off,
doing.
yeah.
So we're looking at sunny, breezy, and warmer today. A high 85. Looking at a low of 64 tonight. So we got a string of really good-looking days coming up, don't we? Tomorrow's sunny and 83. Friday and Saturday, sunny with highs around 84. And then Sunday, we start cranking the heat up just a tad, and the humidity also 88. However, before then, we've got another great weekend for the annual Irish Fest Ehrenfest celebration on the riverfront. Should be a very, very nice weekend and evenings down there. And currently, we're looking at 69 degrees with really low humidity. A great day out there.
Yeah, wonderful day in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Well, Kevin Sullivan, good morning.
Good morning, Roger.
Thank you for coming in. I've got to get something off my chest, and as host of the show, I'm able to do it. What's your response? There is a legislator, and no surprise, it's a Democrat from the state of Ohio, and she has filed a emergency request from a judge to stop everything going on at the Kennedy Center, and the judge agreed. And what do you think her objection is? They're going to name the new facility that is about to begin a 2-year renovation because the building is run down. She doesn't want them to name it after Donald Trump. What in the world is this country coming to when a person can file a legal motion and the judge agreed that they can't name that after him?
Well, it's I'm not as conversant with this, but I do believe it's a woman from Ohio who filed it in Ohio, and as opposed to filing it, or is it Washington? Do you know? I'm not sure. But I wonder what her legal standing is. Why does she?
That's what I was wondering.
Why does she? What basis is? What's her interest in this, other than the same interest that every other American has? And frankly, I would say 2/3, if not 3/4, of the American public really don't care. But I understand that the building is in such dilapidated condition, it cannot be used.
It's unsafe.
Yeah, it's unsafe. It's uninhabitable, and something needs to be done. And again, I think it's all been, for the most part, private funds that have been raised to renovate it. And who cares what the name is? I think it probably should remain the Kennedy Center, but they ought to, if they want to include President Trump in some way, shape, or form, so be it. If he was the one that arranged to bring it up to better conditions, so it's going to be usable. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll have a place like the Kennedy Center, and then they may have the Trump Auditorium within there, or something along those lines. Why not do that? Why do we need to bicker about, waste our time on this stuff? And again, I don't know where the judge is coming from, except we're seeing this more and more, where the judge is going to take the side of the minority party, which is fine if the law supports it. But why in the world, would he say, lady, you need the Historic Preservation Society, you need, you need perhaps the Federal Park Service, what have you, to be the one to be the mover and the shaker on this, not an individual legislator. So I don't think that'll get very far, in my opinion. I do think to change, from what I've read, to change anything of substance with the Kennedy Center, I think requires congressional approval. And again, I'm somewhat mystified as to why that's not being sought, much like the ballroom, to alleviate all the controversy, all the expense going on. But I think that by the way, moving to the ballroom, I think that the Chief Justice decided to say, yeah, we're going to allow the construction to continue until we can resolve this case on the merits. And probably by that time, the ballroom will be about 80% done. And it's going to be one of those where, well, we can't turn back now.
Yeah, you can't go back. I don't think they should turn. But anyway, what would you charge me? I want to file an emergency motion against her for driving her Volkswagen car to and from work. What would that cost me for you to file that?
We could probably do it for a few hundred and some expenses.
Okay. Well, the expense is what worries me.
Yeah, well, we'll probably be staying in the Trump Hotel in Washington.
Yeah. How about Bob Evans?
Yeah.
You know that bit. Well, let's, on a more serious note, turn to the trial of Lindsay Clancy. And this isn't unusual that when you have something involving psychologists and psychiatrists, that for everyone that the defense can get, the prosecution can get the same category: a psychiatrist, psychologist, a counselor, a social worker, whatever, to combat. Doesn't that make the jury, I won't say totally confused, but close to it?
Well, I mean, if you break it down simply, and an attorney wants to argue this, and I've done it before on different cases, you can say, ladies and gentlemen, if these experts can't make a decision after having all the experts have ample opportunity to examine Clancy, if they can't resolve, what her condition is that not in and of itself reasonable doubt? And of course, this is not going to be it's not reasonable doubt in the sense of not guilty at the end of the day, because she admitted to doing it. The question is she going to be convicted, or is she going to be found not guilty by reason of insanity? Either way, as we've said before, she's not going home at the end of this trial. It's going to be a question of where she will be. Will she be in a prison, or will she be in some sort of a mental institution in the state of Massachusetts? And it's interesting to see some of the developments in the last few days. There was in the rebuttal. Now keep in mind, the order of the trial is this. It starts out after jury selection and a jury's impaneled. What then happens is the prosecution makes an opening statement. The defense makes an opening statement. Then they move into the evidentiary phase of the trial. The prosecution goes first. The defense has an opportunity to go second, but they don't have to. If they do, the prosecution has an opportunity to rebut what the defense said. Now, that doesn't mean retrying the case like they did when they started the trial. They have to contain their evidence to rebut what the defendant's evidence was. So it's a little bit more narrow. They get to go second and have rebuttal because under the rules, they have the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's why they have an opportunity to rebut what the defense provides. In this case, I believe they called 3 mental health care professionals, and one of whom kind of got off on a sidetrack, I think, on Monday, starting to talk about the tenets of the Roman Catholic Church, the fact that murder is a capital mortal sin, and whether that was intentional by the prosecution or not, it was certainly very clearly improper for that witness to go down that path, and you don't ever want to mix religion with law in that situation. You could tell the judge was exceptionally frustrated. I think if this would have occurred perhaps early on in the trial, it would have been a mistrial. But they've been trying this case since July 27th, and I know this judge was fighting himself to say, I'm not going to start this case over again. That might be an appealable issue down the road, and that's not appeal that was invited by the defense. Clearly, either this witness was not controlled or this witness went off on an unexpected tangent. And that will be a good issue, but I don't think this judge wanted to do this again. And he clearly had comments to the jury. This is clearly improper evidence. You cannot consider it under any circumstance, and on and on and on. And hopefully the jury can heed his warning and to disregard that evidence.
That can be very difficult, though, Ken. When you hear something and then you're told don't consider it, it's still in the mind.
It's like trying to unring the bell, and it's the damage may be done in this situation. I was reading something last night. Basically, this case comes down to psychosis versus depression, and I think that they have the day off today so the attorneys can prepare their closing arguments. But I think you're gonna look at some things that just prior to the death of these children, she was interacting with them normally. She was doing stuff around the house with them. Everything seemed fine. She sent her husband out to the drugstore for an errand, and when he came back, she was splayed out on I think it was the driveway from jumping out of a second floor window, and the children were dead. You know, how do you turn that switch on and off? Prior to this, she was reaching out for help to others and saying, "I'm not well. My medication's making me worse. I'm doing things." So she had a certain amount of cognizance as to what her situation was. You know, and I mean, we haven't even touched upon what is the obligation of perhaps her husband, her mother, and others,
right?
That, you know, that may have seen this, and did they in fact realize how dire her situation was? I don't know. I think that I will say this. I think the defense really did a great job with what they had to work with. I think this case will hopefully, regardless of the outcome, shed some light on mental health law, whether it's postpartum depression or whether it's psychosis or whether it's other forms of mental health issues, but in mental health disease. Maybe it'll result in some of the government, some agencies within the government becoming a little bit more proactive to address this this very issue and related issues, I should say. And you know, I still have a feeling, I think that there's too much going against her. I think this is going to be a relatively quick verdict of guilty because there's just too many things to suggest that she was not that out of control. And it's going to be hard to believe that she was overcome with voices and this despondency, this inability to recognize right from wrong and what she was doing, you know, like the light switch coming on and off. And normally if this was a buildup and others would have seen it, or she would have been alone with her children without any involvement with her husband, with her mother, without any other extended family or friends, maybe a stronger case. And, you know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I know the judge is probably glad he's not making the decision, but the jury's going to be tasked with, you know, they're going to take some time to read, obviously, the jury instructions, hopefully hold out for a couple of nice government meals, and then render a decision. But I'm guessing the decision will be back within about a day and a half.
Well, the difficulty in this trial, as you so well articulated, is to remember that unlike orthopedic surgery or cardiac health, there are no real ways of measuring the value and the success of the medication other than how you're feeling today. Whereas if you have an injury to your knee, you get an MRI or an X-ray. If you are having breathing difficulties, you do an angiogram and you can see what's going on with the cardiac arteries. But there's no way beyond, are you feeling better today in the discipline of mental health?
Well, you're right. You know, when you talk about medical, physiological medicine, whether it's cardiology or orthopedic, let's say orthopedic related, or, you know, pulmonary, kidneys, you know, number of things, you know, that's much more black and white. That's much more discernible. That's much more diagnosable. You know, we don't have the tools to put somebody's head into an MRI machine and see, well, how are they thinking today? What are they? How despondent are they? Right. I imagine one day we will, you know, but I don't think that's going to happen for a long, long time. And the doctors are going to be relying upon the person that they're talking with, they're examining, the person, how they interact, how they respond to questions, perhaps how they appear physically, how they walk, their affect, and their answers, you know. And is somebody trying to BS the doctor into, I'm so bad that I need this and this, when they're not, or vice versa, you know. And I do think one legitimate problem that prosecution has, and it's going for the defense in this situation, is she was prescribed 13 different psychotropic medications. And, you know, I'm not a medical doctor, let alone a psychiatrist, but most people that take 13 medications, whether it's for a heart ailment or whether it's for heartburn, there's going to be, you know, every action has a reaction. And every medication is going to have some effect, it should have, on your body. Now, if you take two of the same thing, is it going to be 2 times better, or is one going to counteract the other? You know, we talked the other day about Adderall. For certain people that do not have ADHD, it hypes you up. You can stay awake for 24 hours. For people with ADHD, it has just the opposite effect. It calms them down. And, you know, you're talking psychotropic medication, what is, you know, and if multiple doctors are prescribing this, I think, first of all, shame on them, because, I mean, if I'm sure in Massachusetts they have the same thing that they have in Central Illinois, and that's called some form of My Chart through Epic, where a doctor gets immediate access to this person's medical history, can hit a tab and determine what medication is this person on. And it's in coordination also, I believe, with the pharmacies, so that when somebody does fill a prescription, that goes into some database that can be easily checked by the doctors or by their nurses or staff, what have you. And so, I mean, I think, you know, I've seen many people over the years. At one time, my grandmother was over-medicated and resulted in her being hospitalized for the first time in her life when she was like 90 years old. And once there was one doctor that took over and said, wait, you're on this and this and this. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut you down from 9 to about 3 prescriptions. And I think in a matter of 3 to 4 days, a whole new person. And she lived another 9 years to age 99. So, you know, it's, I think that's a legitimate concern. I think that's a legitimate problem here. And I certainly hope the jury considers it, because we're not dealing here with taking an aspirin or a Tylenol. We're dealing with psychotropic medication. And some of that is very, very powerful, like Librium, lithium. You know, I can't even list all the others, but I could with a little bit of a head start. But I think that that's going to play a role. And I think I'm sure there was pharmacologists that testified in this case, and, you know, they would have said, here's what this medication alone does. Now when you add this to the equation, you know, it becomes that much more, she becomes that much more volatile. You know, and you know, the fact that she attempted suicide, there's 2 ways to look at that. One, she had the ability to recognize what she had done was wrong and wanted to end her life, because her life virtually, you know, ended at this point in time, at least a quality of life. Or was she that out of it that she didn't even know she was doing that? And, you know, again, that's going to be a question of perspective from the jury. They don't have the benefit of seeing her. They did not have the benefit of seeing her testify, so they did not get to see her affect. But I think that can certainly be debated. Was the suicide, you know, intended, or was it somewhat subconscious? And I don't have the answer, and I would love to have watched this trial gavel to gavel, but unfortunately didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah. One thing is certain, whether she is found guilty or not guilty, in many ways her life is over.
Oh, yes.
I can't imagine that anyone would want to, even later on, marry her with her reputation and what has happened to her. And whether she was insane or not insane, that will dog her for the rest of her life, as it should.
Well, and she's going to be confined to a wheelchair.
I was just going to say,
that's,
she's paralyzed.
That's just a smaller jail cell, so to speak, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now people that are found not guilty by reason of insanity, they can regain their sanity and they can be released at some point in the future, you know, but that's a very high bar to hurdle. And stranger things have happened. You never know.
Yeah, you bet. Switching gears a little bit, and this is going to get a little personal, and I'm going to be very careful, but nonetheless, we've had a couple of cases in the news that we're reporting on. One is, and remember, the person who's accused is innocent until proven guilty, has been involved in sexual relationship with a girl, I believe, at 11 years of age, if not 11, 10 at that particular point. And then we have 6 people who have been charged because they've been involved in trafficking sex with minors. How difficult is it for you personally if one of those clients or one of those cases came to you as a request to represent them?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've got about 5 of them right now from various counties. And I will say this, ever since I encountered one of these type of cases, I don't like them because they come about as a result of a sting operation. And what the police typically will do is they will advertise on an adult website that may promote prostitution, and they'll put a picture in there of a person. It's not the real person. Person might be attractive, may definitely look of age, developed, and all that sort of thing. It's not a 12-year-old picture they're putting up there, but certainly an adult. And they're going to say, are you interested in this? And they, somebody is on that website looking and say, this kind of looks good. This is adult to adult. It's still illegal, but it's not, purportedly involving a child. There's usually some sort of caption under there that says, for a good time, I'm 51 years old. Come see me. Let's get together. And in this particular case, which I find to be really interesting, the police, in the caption on the adult website, put in there that I am 51 years old. I'm using that as a specific number. I know this for a fact. And then they put what is called a reverse emoji on there. And I have no idea what that is. And anybody I've talked to, including tech people, they've never heard of it as well. That stands for the fact that that number should be inverted from 51 to 15, and how you're supposed to know that. And then what they do is they will then contact certain cases. They will then reach out to the telephone number and text them and say the next day, well, you want to get together, you want to do this, you want to do this, and get into a conversation, texting back and forth or messaging back and forth, depending upon what platform they're using. And then at one point slip in, well, I'm only 15. And by the way, when you coming over, and what are we going to do, and what about this, and how much money you bringing, and stuff like that. So these people, I'm not saying that every one of them's been entrapped, because that, they were already looking perhaps at the website through no encouragement from the police, but they certainly, in my opinion, have been enticed, and that enticement's been perpetuated by the continuous or the repetitive contacts about when you're coming over. They're trying to break these people to get them over, and then when they go to the meet location, they get pounced on. When I say the place where they're going to meet, whether it's a house, an apartment, or wherever, then the police pounce on them, and they get charged with indecent solicitation of a child, traveling to meet a minor, sometimes the offensive grooming, and then the vehicle in which they drove themselves over there typically is subject to forfeiture. So it's a really serious situation for these individuals, and they're doing a lot of this in Woodford County. They've been doing it since March. I don't like the sting operation because people can find their own way in and out of trouble. But now with the encouragement,
they don't need help
they don't
from
need the
government,
encouragement, in my opinion. And
interesting.
Now let's say hypothetically they put out a picture, not necessarily a pornographic picture, but a picture of someone who appears to be a minor, and say, I'm 17 years of age, because that's 1 year below, obviously, 18, the age majority. I'm 17, and boy, I'm lonely, and my mom works around the clock, and I'd like to get together with you. That's a little more questionable about the person's conduct. But when you're 51 and you have a corresponding picture, and all of a sudden now you're interested, and that interest is piqued by the constant or, again, repetitive communications back and forth. I think, and I can't tell you the last time I've tried one of those cases, but I don't know what the general public, how they feel about that. And
that's why I bring it up, because I'm general public, as we all are in this room.
I think there's probably an element of the population that does not like that type of conduct by the police.
Yeah.
I know people that complain about a speed trap, let's say on I-74. Well, that's a little different, of course, but they complain about it because it's an organized way to try to raise money and prosecute people for traffic violations. I think this is more egregious. And, I realize that there is a problem with child trafficking going on in this country, but I think there's got to be better ways to try to enforce and prevent that from occurring.
Well, as always, your insights are wonderful and very informative. And I never looked at it from the perspective that you just indicated about setting an era of entrapment for certain individuals, and so we'll follow those cases very closely.
Well, you know, and they're doing this in Woodford County also because it's probably the toughest place to defend criminal cases in the state of Illinois, probably the most difficult county, and the judges are difficult. The judges hand out really strong sentences. Prosecutors drive hard bargains, and it's within the bounds of the law. But it's like if you had this happen in another county. You know, this would be, no big deal, probation, but these people are facing legitimately facing potential prison sentences.
One final question. We'll end on a high note. In a way, a high note. On the other hand, the passing of Dolly Parton certainly is a high note, but her career was she brought great joy to many, many people because of her singing talents. Were you a Dolly Parton fan?
I thought she was an exceptional talent, very versatile. You know, whether it was movies, whether it was rock and roll, whether it was country, you know, whether it was other business interests. And to come from rags literally to riches, that's really the American dream. And kudos to the president.
He talks about you in his sleep, and there's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. And I can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene.
She was a genius, wasn't she? She was a public relations master. I don't say mystery, but you got it. As always, thanks for coming in, Kevin. Appreciate it. Have a great day. News, weather, sports coming up next on Breakfast with Roger and Friends as we honor and remember the great Dolly Parton.
You could have your choice of men, but I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you and whatever you decide to do, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can. Jolene,
It's 8:03, and welcome to this portion of Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU and also on YouTube. It's a Wednesday, the 26th of August. We start with the weather presented by Kyle Varnold of Fortner Insurance. Kyle knows insurance, and he can provide you with competitive quotes for auto, homeowners, life, and health. Don't renew your insurance without first talking to Kyle. He's available at 309-682-0519. Dave Poehls has our weather, so front and center, David.
I do indeed. It is looking a great-looking Wednesday out there. Sunny, breezy, and warmer today, a high of 85 degrees. Tonight we dip down to 64, and then we got a string of really nice-looking days ahead. So tomorrow's sunny and 83. Friday and Saturday sunny with highs around 84, and then Sunday turning the temperature up a little bit to 88 degrees. Looking for another great weekend for our annual Ehrenfeist Irish Fest celebration on the riverfront, so get out there and enjoy it this weekend. And currently we're holding at a very warm 71 degrees, a very pleasant 71 degrees, I might
Beautiful
add.
day, no
Yes.
question about it. Now the news presented by Matt Wall, certified public accountant and tax specialist with Gordon Stockman Wall. A graduate of Bradley University and DePaul University, Matt provides a broad range of accounting, auditing, management consulting, and income tax planning. Oh, that's coming around the corner when she comes. Matt Wall, available at 309-692-4030. Now with our lead story, Teri Chamberlain.
Well, as we've been talking about this morning, Dolly Parton, considered by many as the greatest female vocalist of all time, has died at the age of 80. The iconic singer passed away at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville after a brief battle with cancer. The type of cancer has not been identified. Parton had struggled emotionally after the death of her husband, Carl Dean, in March of last year.
Dolly Parton won 11 Grammy Awards, 10 Country Music Awards, and was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during her legendary career. She also was nominated twice for Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Award. She was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1984. She had 25 songs reach number 1 on Billboard and 42 career top 10 country albums, a record for any artist, and 110 career charted singles over the past 40 years. And we, of course, have been playing many of Dolly Parton's hits all day.
Yeah, and you're right. She had absolutely lovely voice, and one of those you may recognize.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way, so I'll go. But I know I'll think of you each step of the way.
This one, hands down.
Yeah, same.
Right?
I was just
Hands
remarking,
down or hands up. Yes.
I was remarking that most a younger generation know the Whitney Houston version, but I thought it was a classy thing to have Dolly Parton actually present that Grammy to her. It's kind of a nice connection between the two.
Yeah,
Yep.
What a version.
Yep.
Well, I like the fact that President Trump has ordered the American flags to be flown at half-staff nationwide for one whole week in her honor. And as well, we've been playing, and we might be able to squeeze one more song in before the
end of the
program's
program.
over.
You're right. As we remember the lovely, the talented Dolly Parton. In other news,
there was a big Republican primary race in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate between Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. President Trump endorsed Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham.
The judge in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial sent the jury home early yesterday after he denied the defense's motion for a mistrial. The 36-year-old woman is accused of murdering her 3 young children in 2023. Mental health experts testified for and against Clancy and her state of mind when she strangled each child in the basement of her Duxbury, Massachusetts home. A psychologist told the court the mother was criminally responsible for the murders. And we had Bureau Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan's input this morning.
The Iranian government is showing its hatred for the United States with news they're targeting assassination efforts towards President Trump's 20-year-old son, Barron. He's currently attending New York University. The U.S. Secret Service said it was aware of a video on Iranian state television announcing a $10 million reward to anyone providing Barron's location.
Ohio Democrat Representative Joyce Beatty has filed an emergency motion to halt President Trump's planned 2-year renovation of the famed Kennedy Center. The entertainment venue is in need of complete modernization and updating due to aging deterioration. The Democrat is angry the center has approved the renaming of the facility after Trump. A federal judge has agreed. However, an attorney with the Justice Department warned the federal court if the renovation plans are blocked, steps will be taken to demolish the aging structure and replace it with an amphitheater.
Turning to local news, the Peoria School District is without a financial officer, but new Superintendent Dr. Jerry Bell says the district is on schedule in preparing a budget for the current school year. So far, no explanation from anyone about the sudden resignation of Michael Curry as Chief Financial Officer after about 1 week on the job. Curry was hired from the Decatur School District. Reportedly, he took a job elsewhere.
Tazewell County State's Attorney Kevin Johnson says his office is filing charges against 45-year-old Jason Ruckold of Washington. The former softball coach allegedly had sex with a minor multiple times in East Peoria between June 2022 and June 2025. He was previously charged with the same offense with the same victim in Woodford County. He remains behind bars.
And Peoria City Council has quickly denied requests by 2 Knoxville Avenue gas stations to sell alcohol. The BP stations in the 2300 and 4500 blocks had requested liquor licenses. And again, apparently council said you can pump gas, but get this, you're unable to get gas. Thank you so much for that, Roger. Neighbors were glad with the vote, which came without discussion thanks to its inclusion on the consent agenda. And those are our headline news for this half hour.
And we continue, of course, by turning to WCBU for their news.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ryan Denham. A global renewable energy firm is looking to build a 113-turbine wind farm in northwest Peoria County. Repsol Renewables of Spain has submitted an application for the Fork Creeks wind development, covering 27,000 acres from Princeville and Brimfield to the county lines. Peoria County Director of Planning and Zoning, Andrew Braun, says this first step is requesting permission to proceed with the project.
The building permit stage would follow in the next 5 or so years, and it would require a whole laundry list full of additional regulations.
The first of several days of public input is scheduled for September 14th at the Holiday Inn in Grand Prairie. The 54 flock license plate reading cameras in Pekin will remain there for another year. The City Council voted 6-1 in renewing its annual contract with Flock for a 4th year. A state grant covering the approximately $160,000 cost of the cameras expires next year. Councilmember Peg Phillips says she doesn't want to face telling a parent that the city no longer had one means of finding a missing child.
I would hate to be standing in front of that person and say, I chose to do away with the tool that could be helping you right now. We know in real life that this has helped people in Pekin.
Rick Hilst cast a lone no vote. 11 flock opponents from Pekin and nearby communities spoke during public comment. Peoria Mayor Rita Ali says the city has been approached in the past about potential data centers, but she doesn't expect anything to come of it. Ali says the main reason for minimal interest in a Peoria data center is a lack of sufficient electrical grid capacity.
It's a very politically charged issue, but it doesn't look like we'll be entertaining data centers in Peoria anytime soon.
Ali says the city's input regarding data centers has come primarily through the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. A new state law will help patients get medications they need to manage pain after surgical procedures. Previously, drugs like morphine or codeine could not be transferred to a new pharmacy without an entirely new prescription. At the federal level, these drugs were able to be transferred, but Illinois law imposed tighter restrictions that have now been loosened. You can find more news at WCBU.org. I'm Ryan Denham.
And I have a couple of pens, flags, and scissors and everything, and happened to knock it on the floor and it went everywhere. But the crew sprung into action, knowing that if I had to do it, I would be here until Saturday.
Right, we're highly trained professionals.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't have you here till Saturday.
Picking up things.
Yes, we are. We're picking
floor.
up the pieces. Oh, there's a good song for you.
Picking up after you doesn't make me feel blue. But I'm happy that you're here with me and youth.
That was our 7th inning stretch is what that was.
Yeah. Here's Tyrus.
Morning calisthenics.
Here's Tyrus for sports.
All right. Thanks, Roger. Let's start with the Peoria sports news. The Peoria Chiefs at 56-63 play today against the West Michigan Whitecaps. At 6:35 p.m., they are also the affiliate with the Detroit Tigers. So this series is a 5-game away series, and then they will have their last home series, and it'll be 6 games. So there is 11
So
games
get out
left.
and support your Chiefs.
That's right. There's no reason, because there's 6 games left at home. You can all make it there.
Let's
go. That's right. MLB news: the Cubs are in second place at 5.5 out of first place. 76-57. They lost to the Diamondbacks last night, 5-4. They play the rubber match today at 2:40 p.m. Yeah, they got walked off 2-run homer, I think, to win it. The Cardinals at 66-67 and third place, 15.5 games out of first, 5 games out of the wild card spot. They got blown out 13-1 by the Orioles. They can tie up the series at 6:45 p.m. tonight. against them and maybe get back rolling, hopefully. There's a lot of people struggling on the team, and we've had some injuries. So that's fun. But good news in the minors. That's where you can get some good news for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Yankees at 74-57, 3.5 games behind the Rays. They lost to the Astros yesterday, 9-7. They will tie up, or they will look to tie up the series today with a win at 6:05 p.m. The White Sox at 69-63, 2.5 games up in the lead for first, won 11-7 against the Rangers. They go for the series win tonight at 6:40 p.m. The Phillies at 73-60 in second, 4.5 games out of first, lost to the Phillies 6-4. We'll try tonight to get swept today at 3:10 p.m. Brewers at 81-51 in first, lost to the Mets 3-2. They look to tie up the series at 6:10 p.m. tonight. The WNBA, Indiana Fever, are 25-14, play the Connecticut Sun Friday at 6:30 p.m. Chicago Sky at 15. They're 15-24, lost to the Connecticut Sun, 87-81. They next play the New York Liberty Saturday at 12 o'clock. And then NFL news, the Chicago Bears have their last preseason game at 5 p.m. versus the Tennessee Titans. And then it's cut time next week. They got to get...
Cut your losses. Yep.
Yeah. They got to cut the 90-man
But some of the guys that
down.
get cut wind up going to other teams.
Other
too.
teams,
That's a
practice
possibility.
squads.
Yeah.
You're always
in the mix.
You're always in the mix. You know, you got to leave good tape out there, and somebody will pick you up. So
you're right.
And you're still getting paid.
Well, that's true. You still get paid, and then it'll be on to the start of the regular season where they're going to be playing the Panthers first.
What day is that? Is that the 13th? They open
September 13th.
I think it
so.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming
And
around
that
the
is
corner.
sports.
And that is sports with Tyrus Kileon this morning. And we continue. Special day, special program today. We're remembering the great life of the iconic, legendary, what a wonderful woman, entertainer, person, Dolly Parton. We'll talk some more. However, we have not been doing this day in history. At least we missed yesterday. So shame on us. So let's do a little quiz or two before at the bottom of the hour. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to have a musical quiz too. We haven't had that.
sounds
as
good.
well.
Had a musical quiz.
All right,
Oh, wow.
on August 25th, 1939, there was a inaugural presentation, a debut, or some people say debut. Debut of what?
I would say I'm going to go with World's Fair Television.
That was a good guess,
But it's not right.
Not correct.
Okay.
I'm going to say the movie Gone with the Wind.
Close.
Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but both of them that
Now,
year were up
interesting,
for the...
interesting because of what you just said. The Wizard of Oz became one of the best-loved movies in history, opened in theaters around the United States on August 25th, 1939. It was based on what?
Wizard of Oz was based Frank Baum's story, wasn't
L.
it?
Frank Baum's
Yeah.
Frank Baum,
Yeah.
right, novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz was the name, right?
We're off to see
It was
that one.
nominated for an Academy Award in the Best Picture category, but that film lost to
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. The Civil War era epic. The Wizard of Oz won a Best Song Oscar for
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Over the Rainbow,
Judy
which
Garland.
became one of star Judy Garland's signature hits. I saw Judy Garland. I went on leave to London, England, and I saw where she was singing. I went to the theater, and she gave a terrible performance and had a hard time hitting high notes and said she had a cold. And an English woman, I would say, was in her 40s sitting next to me, and she said, and I can't replicate the accent, but she says, "Hogwash, the lady, it's drunk."
That was pretty good.
And I didn't think about that. I said, well, that might have been it, but she did terrible. But anyway, I did see her. She won a special award at that year's Oscar ceremony for what?
Best actor, actress,
Best performance.
supporting.
Best juvenile performer.
Best juvenile performer.
And they don't do that anymore. And the question is, why?
Because all the actors and actresses are young anymore.
Well, no, they just don't break it out as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
juvenile anymore.
I don't know.
You know why? W.C. Fields says he never wanted to perform with dogs or animals or children because they're scene stealers. But boy, I've seen some kids, we all have in movies, and you think, my goodness, how can this kid, the adults
really
are
good.
trained. They go to schools,
Yeah.
and they do performances as part of their maturing professionalism. But for a kid, a juvenile, it's amazing. It's too bad they do. It was filmed at MGM Studios in Culver City, California. The Wizard of Oz was a modest box office success when it was first released, but its popularity continued to grow after it was televised for the first time in what year, students?
Was it in the 50s?
Yes.
1955.
Ooh, close.
54.
Went the other way.
56.
56.
Was
How many people do you think watched that inaugural broadcast?
I would say in the millions.
Yes.
1.2 million.
Double digit.
Oh, 2.2 million.
Way too low.
Okay.
10.5 million.
Way too low.
That was the pilot for whatever airlines. Way too low.
45 million.
45?
45 million. Wow, that's a lot of TV sets.
Amazing.
Holy mackerel.
Wasn't
And since then, of course, it's been replicated many times on cable television. What were, name one or two famous lines in the movie that are remembered today?
Oh my goodness.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Roger.
You're right. Toto,
Toto.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
right.
Very good.
And I will get you, my pretty.
Yes.
That one I don't, it's not.
And pay no attention to the man behind the mask.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, no, behind the curtain.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And
There's
this
no place
one,
like home.
this one is replicated in places like Hobby Lobby with signs that you put in your.
There's no place like home.
That is
Yeah,
correct.
Tyrus said
Very good. You guys are amazing.
Now, interesting, I'm wondering about this, too, because obviously Judy Garland's daughter is Liza Minnelli, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Did she ever win any kind of Academy Award or Oscar? I mean, that would be an interesting mother-daughter.
That's a good
I thought she
question.
did for Cabaret.
That Cabaret is what
Maybe for Cabaret, you think?
Yeah.
All right, August 26, 1959. On this date, something happened in, I'm going to guess, must be in Britain.
Was it a good thing?
Yes. Yes, it was.
1959 in Britain.
And I will tell you, what took place was kind of an aftermath or a ramification of Egypt's President Nasser, who nationalized the Suez Canal, which prompted massive fuel shortages and gasoline rationing throughout Europe.
So this was an event? It was good. I mean, the Suez Crisis was
I wouldn't call it
1956.
an event.
Okay.
I would call it a development of a product.
Cars?
Yes.
Okay.
The battery operated car?
Yeah, the first electric.
What kind of car?
Electric battery operated.
The what?
Battery operated, electric.
Oh, no.
Are you looking for a brand of car?
Yes.
Rolls Royce?
No.
Aston Martin?
No.
These are British cars I'm trying to think of. Land Rovers?
BMW?
Oh,
Well, you're close.
okay.
BM what?
C.
What letter?
C.
C.
So this is a automobile. Hold on a second. This is
The
a
BMC's Mini car.
Oh, the Mini Cooper.
The Mini Cooper?
The Mini
Cooper.
Cooper.
Well, they called it Mark I Mini.
Okay. But it's, yeah.
And I think what you're talking is a later
Yeah.
advancement of the car.
Okay.
And Germany's small, fuel-efficient cars cornered the market after the Suez Canal. The head of BMC, Sir Leonard Lord, what kind of a name is that, saw the incident as an opportunity to produce a British alternative, and the company began many development under a veil of secrecy in 1957. Interesting, because I was in Germany in 1957, and I drove my roommate just once, a little snot, would only let me drive his Volkswagen, which was their answer to fuel efficiency for that matter. And the new car model was designed in only 2.5 years, and with the approval of Lord, not the Lord, but maybe he was involved, he immediately signed off. The Mini moved into wide production.
Oh.
So now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
And we caught up. Fascinating, is it not?
Yeah.
All right, we have our musical quiz coming up. And as a prelude for that, let's bring you up to date with our final newscast of the morning. News is a public service of Advanced Medical Transport at Central Illinois, a part of the region's healthcare network, staffed by a team of paramedics and EMTs. Men and women are quickly on the scene, rendering the best, I mean the best, we know that, in emergency medicine. They also provide, by the way, transportation from the hospital to the home safely and professionally with the AMT, personal touch. And with the personal and professional touch of the news, here's Teri.
Dolly Parton, considered by many as the greatest female vocalist of all time, has died at the age of 80. The iconic singer passed away at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville after a brief battle with cancer. The type of cancer has not been identified. Parton had struggled emotionally after the death of her husband, Carl Dean, in March of last year. Dolly Parton won 11 Grammy Awards, 10 Country Music Awards, and was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame during her legendary career. She also was nominated twice for Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globe Awards, and a Tony Award. She had 25 songs reach #1 on Billboard and 42 career top 10 country albums, and 110 career charted singles over the past 40 years. In other news, there was a big Republican primary race in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate between Darlene Graham and Ralph Norman. President Trump endorsed Graham, the sister of the late Lindsey Graham. She was declared the winner. The judge in the Lindsay Clancy murder trial sent the jury home early yesterday after he denied the defense's motion for a mistrial. The 36-year-old woman is accused of murdering her 3 young children in 2023. Mental health experts testified for and against Clancy and her state of mind when she strangled each child in the basement of her Duxbury, Massachusetts home. We'll talk about this, well, we did talk about this case with Peoria defense attorney Kevin Sullivan, and he said he has not been able to follow it as much as he'd like, but he kind of predicts that the jury will deliberate for about maybe a day and a half, and then come back with their ruling. In local news, the Peoria School District is without a financial officer, but new Superintendent Dr. Jerry Bell says the district is on schedule and preparing a budget for the current school year. So far, no explanation from anyone about the sudden resignation of Michael Curry as Chief Financial Officer after about 1 week on the job. Curry was hired from the Decatur School District and reportedly has taken a job elsewhere. Tazewell County State's Attorney Kevin Johnson says his office is filing charges against 45-year-old Jason Rockhold of Washington. The former softball coach allegedly had sex with a minor multiple times in East Peoria between June 2022 and June 2025. He was previously charged with the same offense with the same victim in Woodford County. He remains behind bars. Be sure to ask Kevin if that is considered double jeopardy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing, but in 2 different counties. Peoria City Council has quickly denied requests by 2 Knoxville Avenue gas stations to sell alcohol. The BP stations in the 2300 and 4500 blocks had requested liquor licenses. Apparently, the council said you can pump gas, but you cannot get gassed. Thank you.
Drum roll.
Neighbors were glad with the vote, which came without discussion, thanks to its conclusion on the consent agenda. And those are the headlines, Roger.
I'm glad we had this talk.
Yeah, I thought so. We had a nice talk. Let's do the weather. Brought to you by Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold, providing personal and business insurance for auto, home, life, and health. Kyle works with multiple companies to find the right price and the right policy, and you can work with Kyle today because he's available at 309-682-0519. Now the weather.
And we are on our way to a great-looking Wednesday out there. It's sunny, breezy, and warmer today, high up to 85 degrees, and tonight low of 64. Tomorrow dawns sunny and 83, and then Friday and Saturday, those good weathers and those good vibes keep on a-coming. Sunny with highs around 84 degrees. Sunday we'll start turning up the heat a little bit, heat and humidity up to 88, but that's a ways away because we have another great weekend for the annual Irish Fest celebration on the riverfront. Yeah. Nice and dry and just some great days and great evenings, so make your plans to get down there this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Currently we're holding at 71 balmy degrees on this wonderful Wednesday.
8:31 is our time, and here's our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. A very unique and beautiful member of the horse family is the zebra. Zebras are considered the only true wild horses in the world today. Though much like the horse, the zebra's stripes make them very different. If you look closely, you will notice that they have long faces, big eyes, smaller hooves, stiffer manes, and are shorter than the common horse. Also, their ears are longer. At first glance, zebras in a herd might all look alike, but their stripe patterns are as distinctive as fingerprints in humans. Scientists can identify individual zebras by comparing patterns, stripe widths, color, and scars. One more interesting fact, their stripes are not just in their hair. It is believed that their skin is actually striped as well. All foals have a close association with their mothers. The male foals are close to the fathers. The males will leave their birth herd on their own accord between the ages of only 1 and 4 years to join an all-male bachelor group until they are strong enough to head a family of their own. The lifespan of a zebra in captivity can be 40 years. Exotic animals, however, should not be kept as pets. Their care is very specialized and expensive, so please enjoy them in the wildlife parks and zoos. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
73 degrees our current temperature, and we've been talking and honoring and remembering the great, the legendary singer Dolly Parton. On the line, we have someone who knows a little bit about, and maybe a lot of bit, about singing, and certainly Dolly Parton, and we're talking with Kathy Reynolds. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
Tell us
you're all doing great this morning. I love it.
Great. Tell us your thoughts about Dolly Parton.
Well, Dolly Parton was just amazing singer, vocalist, but she was such a songwriter and such a businesswoman and actress and just you name it. There wasn't anything she couldn't do. She was truly a gift from God, and I believe that she glorified God in every single thing she said and did, and it was just such a beautiful soul and really left a wonderful legacy behind.
She won so many awards. She probably had a museum somewhere in her house or her estate or whatever. Did you ever get a chance to see her in person? I know you've been down to Branson and Nashville and all over the place, but did you ever get a chance to see her in person?
I was always a day late and a dollar short.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Because she had the theater, of course. She started down there in Branson with the horses and everything, and that was amazing. But then I got to sing at Dollywood, and it was so cool because I was like, I just want to meet her. Just want to meet her. And she wasn't there that day, so wham. But what she did with making Dollywood such a successful place was just phenomenal. And she did such neat things. I think she also gave the one singer from Peoria, she really liked her and helped her to get herself going and gave her a job there in Dollywood. But then she had the books that she would, donate to kids all over the world. I think it was called the Dolly Library.
I thought Imagination.
Imagination Library.
Imagination Library. Yes, that's it, and that's beautiful. She was truly one of a kind.
Well, I heard somebody say yesterday that she could have been a billionaire, but she used her money for other purposes, and she was such a philanthropist. The book program and just other things that she did. What a legacy.
He truly wanted to glorify God, and I believe she did. And to be able to run in the arms of Jesus and stand there with her precious Carl, whom she loved like more than life.
Yep.
Yeah, she was absolutely amazing, no question about it. All right, thank you for the thoughts. Stick on, stick around, stick on, whatever. We're going to have our musical quiz. Are you up to joining us for this?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see how we do with the title of the song and who the artist is. And this one, I'm trying to think what period of time. Well, it's from a CD titled The Folk Years. I think you'll get this one very quickly, panel. Any of you know this?
If I Had a Hammer.
That's it.
There we go.
By
Trini Lopez.
Very good. Well, I saw you, both of you, I can't see Kathy, of course, but both of you were in deep thought. Let's see how you do.
Well, what's so funny is it's a different version than what I'm used to, but that's a song that I do those all the time, every time I need a hammer. If I had one, would I hammer in the morning?
All right, who's this singing this, and what's the name of the song?
Oh, America is just beautiful.
Yeah, this land is your land.
Yeah.
This land was made for you and me. As I went walking
The New Christy Minstrels.
Close.
I saw above me that endless sky.
Big favorite on the college campuses.
The Letterman.
Close.
The Crew Cuts.
This land was made for you
There
and
is a street in Wardcliff with the same name.
This your land. This land is my land.
I think there's a street near where you live, not close. And I'll help you out a little bit. Three fellas.
The Trent Mitchell Trio.
No.
I'm going through work this week.
Okay,
Kathy, do you know?
I have never heard these people.
Okay, the Kingston Trio.
Okay, I should have known that.
Yeah, I know you should have.
How many
That's-
versions of that song are
well,
there?
yeah, there's many
Yeah.
versions of that. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, here's a singer I know you'll know. The song.
You do realize I was only 5 years old when some of this songs were made, so.
Sonny and Cher?
Sonny.
That was Cher?
And you got that. Thank you, Kathy and Terry. What was the name of the song? I don't remember the song. All I really want to do.
No, I don't.
I didn't think that would ring a bell, although I will.
There's your bell.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. No, I'm not. That one's hard. This one I know you'll get.
Walk right in.
You got it. Bye. You got it. It's on your tip of your lips.
Barry McGuire?
No.
The New Christy Minstrels?
No.
Kingston Trio?
No. What do you usually have to have repaired after a tornado or a storm? Big storm.
Your roof?
Yes.
The Rooftop Singers?
Yes.
Never heard of them. But I do know the song.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our crew is doing a good job. Let's see if you get this one. This one I don't know, even after looking at the title.
Loved you all the summer through. I thought I'd found my dream in you. For me, you were the one. But that was yesterday, and yesterday's gone.
I think Yesterday's Gone is the name of it.
Yeah, Yesterday's Gone by two guys.
Chad and Jeremy?
That's it. Very good. All right, here's another song that I think you'll get.
I think it's a new world coming.
What are your answers?
What'd you say, Kathy?
A new world coming?
No.
Another You?
Yeah.
I'll never find another
I'll
you.
never find another you. Yeah, all right. They just sang the title, and what's the group? What do you do when you go looking for something?
The Seekers.
The Seekers. Yeah, good, Roger. That was all right. I like that. Here's a guy I wonder if you know.
Tambourine Man.
You're right. By who? You have a lot of them in your backyard, and I'm not talking about
Squirrels?
Yeah,
Weeds?
yeah, we all have that.
Is it a sing? Is it a group? Or is
It's
it
a
what?
group.
It's a group.
Well, if you have a lot of trees, you have a lot of these in the trees sometimes.
Birds? The
Yeah.
birds.
The
Oh, it is the bird.
The bird.
The BYRDS.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this one will be a race to see who gets it the quickest. Very familiar singer.
Glenn Campbell?
Yes.
It's knowing.
That your door is always open and your path
Jungle on My Mind.
Pretty well.
Jungle on My Mind by Glenn Campbell. Boy, you
that
guys
makes me
are,
tend to leave my sleeping bag.
hitting all cylinders, and you'll get this song as well.
Oh.
What a day for a daydream.
Daydream.
Yeah, Daydream is right. Bye.
Daydreaming boy, and I'm lost in a daydream, dreaming about my bundle of joy. And even if time ain't really on my side, it's one of those days for taking a walk outside. I'm blowing the
I don't think it's Oliver.
and follow my face on somebody's new mode lawn. I've been having a sweet dream. I've been dreaming since I woke up today. It starred me in my sweet dream.
I could give you every word of this song. I just couldn't
Yeah,
tell
I
you
can
who
sing
it
along
was.
with it. I can't remember who it was.
And even if time is passing
What do you think of when you're making something in the kitchen and you reach in the drawer for what? Do the spatula. That would be one, but that's not what I'm looking for. Yes. Well, so what is the name of the group?
Spooners?
Oh
No, it's spoon.
Don't say spoon over Miami. The lovin'
The 11 spoonful.
Yeah. This guy is a very prominent singer in his day, and tell me the name of the song and who we're talking about.
That's what you get for loving me. That's what you get for loving me. Everything you had is gone, as you can see. That's what you get for loving me.
Ray McGuire?
I ain't the kind to hang around with any new love that I've found. 'Cause moving in my stock and trade, I'm
The title of the
moving
song
on.
for loving me, you know that.
I won't think of you when I'm gone.
Is it John's? John Sebastian?
No.
Oh, I got no
No.
I checked
You're
out.
just wrong.
Hey, I did
You're
get the
wrong
Lovin'
for-
Spoonfuls, though. I did have that one.
You did have this guy's, years ago they used to have a series at the Apollo Theater featuring Flash Gordon.
Cereals?
I'll have 1,000 for
I gave you his first name just
Flash.
What was Flash's last name?
Now there you go, you cry to get
I don't know.
Flash Gordon. So
Oh, that flame. All right. It's not Gordon Lightfoot.
yes,
It is Gordon Lightfoot?
Gordon Lightfoot. Yeah.
I thought that a long time ago. I thought this was he didn't do. Okay.
Did you say?
I recognize
No,
the
I
voice.
thought of it, and I thought it
You
could.
thought then it disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're going to get this one very easy, and let's give.
I'd probably get the one you didn't want to play.
Let's give Dave a chance to tell the name of this group.
I
Beach Boys is correct. What's the name of the song?
It's Sloop John B.
And you got it. Here's another one where we're getting near the end of the quiz, and you'll get this one.
Oh, yeah.
Day-O, yeah, that's one title. What's the
Banana Boat song.
Banana Boat? Mm-hmm.
Harry Belafonte.
Harry Belafonte. I knew you would get this one.
Daylight come and me want go.
And what movie was it in?
Work all night and a drink a rum.
Good question. Yeah,
I
what?
do not know.
No, I do not know that.
Was it Beetlejuice?
That's what. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was in Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Which, by the way, I can't handle that kind of movie because it's scary.
This is a song that I always enjoyed. Never knew for sure who the singers were, and maybe you can tell me after you tell me the name of the song.
All day, all night, Marianne.
It's All Day, All Night, Marianne.
I'm not Marianne.
Marianne.
Even little children love Marianne. Down by the seaside, sifting sand. Marianne, oh Marianne, oh.
It's not the front porch majority, is it?
We can have a bamboo hut and brandy in the tea. Leave your fat old mama home. She never will say
Terry
yes.
Gilkison.
If mama
That ring a bell?
No.
And the Easy Riders.
No.
Never heard of it.
Never heard. All right, we'll close our musical quiz with an easy song by a group that you're familiar with.
We went one day, about a month ago, to have a little fun. In Mexico we ended up in the gambling spot.
Peter, Paul, and Mary?
Where the liquor flowed.
What was that?
Peter, Paul, and Mary?
The dice were hot, so here we are in the Tijuana jail.
The Chad Mitchell Trio.
To
You hear Kathy, the Kingston Trio?
Yeah.
So here we'll stay.
The Kingston Trio.
Just send our mail to the Tijuana jail.
Yeah, remember what year the Kingston Trio were
Raking in the
popular?
on green.
Mid-60s.
Mid-60s.
Yeah, I'd say mid-60s. Late 50s, early mid-60s.
We started to run when a man in blue said, Senor, come with me, 'cause I want you. So here we are.
Do we have anything today, panel, equivalent to the Kingston Trio, or the Beach Boys, or Chad and Jeremy? We don't seem to have groups in that particular musical venue, do
Well,
we?
there's the Pentatonics.
Pentatonics is good.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought
That's a good point, yeah.
You know, like, some of the harmonies, not, what was their name? Not New Kids on the Block, but those harmony, Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys kind of
Yeah.
harmonized.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah.
Or equivalent.
Southern Gospel Quartet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true as well. You bet. All right, Kathy, thanks for joining us and helping us on the songs and the artists for that matter, and your thoughts on Dolly Parton.
I wasn't much help, but I had fun, so thank you.
You bet. Have a great day. Thanks, Kathy.
Bye.
Bye.
God bless you all.
You bet. Kathy Reynolds, you mentioned something as we switch gears a little bit about this school board dealing with financial problems, and they are now advertising once again for a financial officer. That should be a short process, and I'll tell you why. Because they received applications for a number of individuals, and those who didn't get it could be reconsidered if they want to be reconsidered. They may not,
They may be following the news, too.
One of the questions that an applicant makes is during the job interview is why the previous person leave. Well, you're talking about the one who was here for only a week, or the one who?
Or the one before that.
No, the one before that. When somebody quits within a week, if that isn't a red flag to an applicant saying, and if he still wants to apply, he might be pretty desperate, and that narrows the qualifications down somewhat.
Yeah.
So District 150 is really financially is perhaps dug a hole. I know somebody on the board has an interest in possibly seeking help from the Department of Justice. And that would raise some real eyebrows and maybe some concerns of people in the administration office of School District 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good that
And when the feds come to town, that's a big deal.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's going to happen because I don't know, but there have been some comments floating around about a lot of things in our community, and that's one of them, what's going on. And we never did get a resolution to the alleged theft of money at the Peoria Housing Authority. Have you noticed how quickly financial wrongdoing is swept under the rug in the city of Peoria? And I don't think that's good news, to say the least, for that. At any rate, and is that something the Peoria Regional Office of Education, Peoria County Office of...
Well, remember, the ROE is a advisory role, a service organization, but they are a liaison between the State Board of Education and local districts. So the quick answer to your question is yes, they'd be involved in a way to stabilize things, but that's kind of an ongoing situation. A lot of grant money flows through the ROE, so that could be a definite, shall we say, oversight?
Yeah.
More of a process.
Or undersight.
Well, that's true.
What it is.
Yeah.
What is the mission statement for the office of which you are a
Regional
part?
Office Education is service to the community, service to school districts, but one of the functions is, yes, grant money does flow through the Regional Office of Education, support roles to school districts, and in some aspects, oversight to some degree. So yeah, I mean, mainly it's a financial role. We also, in terms of compliance, making sure that the quote-unquote curriculum and books are in order, that sort of thing.
All right, let's close with a final tribute to Dolly Parton with one of her beautiful arrangements. I will always love you. Dolly Parton, rest in peace. God loves you.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way, so I'll go. But I know I'll think of you each step of the way. Bittersweet memories, that's all I am taking with me. Goodbye, please don't cry. We both know that I'm not what you need. Treats you kind, and I hope that you have all that you ever dreamed of, and I wish you joy